How's it going, family? Let me know if you could hear me. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Good. All right. You guys can hear me. We're alive. Also, one other thing I would like to know is compared to the last video that I put out, how's my audio sounding? I have no idea what's been going on lately, but it seems when I direct screen record, which is the way I've been doing things for maybe 4 years now, pretty much since I started, it's been fine. But for whatever reason lately, it's picking up a lot of background noise. People have been saying that they're hearing like loud thumping sounds. I have no idea how that's happening. But for whatever reason, people have told me when I do my live streams or when I do my interviews or podcasts on StreamYard or Zoom, I'm using StreamYard right now. I haven't gotten those complaints. So it'd be interesting to know that if my sound is good now and better than it was in my last couple of YouTube videos, then there must be something. Somebody said that my audio is very low and you need to turn your speakers up a lot. Is that the case right now? I would have a hard time believing that unless I scream into the microphone, which I don't want to do. If you know, you know. I just finished it up last night, the second season. Wow, have I been working a lot lately? It's been easily 15, 16-hour days, and that's how I spend my final hour of most days with an episode of Silo. Even though I caught up, I wasn't able to watch it for like the last 6 weeks or 5 weeks, and I just caught up on most of it over the past week, basically. It started off kind of weird the second season. For those of you that don't know, the show Silo, I don't know if it's available outside of Apple TV, but it is available on Apple TV and absolutely amazing. The first season really set the tone, but then the second season had a slow start, almost like always being predictably ending on a cliffhanger too, which is kind of lame, but whatever. Let's get some visuals up. No more of that 2002 computer background. Mulbill says second seasons. I gotta admit though, and this isn't to change your mind, Bill. I'm not trying to change anyone's minds here, but I used to sort of be similar where like I had an opinion about what was going on with this type of stuff, but then I realized that I myself am not a director, producer. I don't even know how to hold a camera, really. I don't even know how to take a selfie, you know? So I try to hold back on my judgment when it comes to some of that stuff because I'm well aware of the amount of work and skill that goes into. How about we say this? If I told you 10 years ago, maybe I'm a little off on my timeline, but you use your imagination. If I told you 15 years ago that one day we'll be seeing TV series like shows that release episodes in installments, we will be seeing a TV series that has the same quality, if not better, than a Hollywood movie. And it will be almost as long as a Hollywood movie every episode, and it will have the same actors that you would see in Hollywood movies, but now in the television series. If I told you that 15 years ago, you'd be like, no fucking way. But that's what we're getting today. So when you see like the lead characters from some of the most iconic movies, like in Silo, for instance, like dude from Shawshank Redemption and what's her name? Ferguson was in Dune and all these other things. I mean, whatever you feel about movies or Hollywood, or I don't really care. But the point being is that, like, wow, what's next? We're pretty much there, right? Where it's like we're watching a episode of a television series with 10, 12 episodes, and it is better, higher quality than a fucking whole movie used to be. I don't know if that's progress or if that's a sign of the times or if I don't know. But one real quick thing to say, and we'll move on from this. Maybe like a month ish ago, I'm trying to remember exactly when, but I tuned into an episode of The Sopranos, probably a little less than a month ago. And I was like, whoa, this is like maybe the first show that did this and was so good, absolutely incredible show. And for me, it kinda rings home because I was born in Brooklyn, New York, and then I lived in Jersey for, like, 11, 10. I don't remember how many years, at least a decade. So, I had a lot of New Yorker experience, born in Brooklyn, going to school in the Lower East Side of Manhattan, and then I lived in Jersey for a while. So, this show, watching it all these years later after it's been completed, all the seasons are available for you to watch, definitely has, like, this undertone of I don't wanna get off the rails here, but speaking of TV series that were kind of pushing the limits at the time, that was crazy back then to see that. Now today, like we say the Silo season 2 is not it sucks, but compared to something that was released 10 years ago, it's like absolutely mind melting. So yeah, like I guess that's kind of just my take overall on holding back my judgment on these things because what do I know? You know? But I guess as a consumer, there's one thing to it where like you want things to always be better and better and better. And you focus so much on outcomes and you don't really enjoy the process. And I think that's some things that perhaps we'll dive into today. I know it's been a couple weeks since I've done a live stream. I have some new changes coming to my world. Um, so I might as well get this out of the way at the very beginning. Effectively moving forward, I won't be doing live streams every single week, or at least I won't be committing to doing them every weekend like I have been. And it's part of my own evolution, and it's also part of me reassessing like what I really want out of this thing called life. And I don't believe that I've been prioritizing myself as much as I've been prioritizing my ability to connect with others. And that's taken away a lot of personal time from me, like I don't really, I must admit that that's just the kind of person I am. I feel very useful with what I've been doing over the past 4 years. But now it's just time for me to reassess and ask myself, like, is this sustainable? Is it sustainable? No, not for me. I got to a point just a couple months ago where it was like, it hurt to speak, working with so many clients, doing a 2 hour live stream, doing a 1.5 hour Red Pill podcast, making a YouTube video. I mean, it was just endless meetings, talking. And when I speak, I'm not just speaking for attention. I'm not just trying to like get people to be like, look here, like I'm not yelling at in the microphone. I'm putting in a lot of hours with what I do. So I took an inventory maybe 4 months ago, 4 or 5 months ago. I took an inventory kind of before the bull run really started showing itself, before the October solar eclipse. And I said, I've been working on this Waters Above University project in the background for pretty much maybe over a year now. I know I had the expansion group coaching thing going, and I just wanted to think like, how could I do the best possible version of something like that, but then make it more about the community and the university that, well, the people that are a part of it, and less about me. And again, kind of just thinking to myself, how can I evolve? Where's the opportunity to evolve? Well, I needed to trim some fat. I needed to ask myself, like, what matters most, you know? So I hope this doesn't discourage anybody with what I'm saying. You realize it that sometimes you got to think about yourself. You can't always be thinking about the content. I think we've entered a world right now where a lot of us have become expecting too much from too many people, and then it leads to disappointment. And anyways, I don't want it to sound negative, but a very positive thing to come from all of this, although I cannot commit to doing weekly live streams anymore, one thing that I am committing to is with this new project, Waters Above University, where I'll actually be doing a weekly group coaching meeting, and every other week I'll be doing a Ask Me Anything, so an AMA. And that right there is really the big opportunity for me to have an organized weekly connection. These live streams, sometimes they could go on for 3 hours, 4 hours. There's a lot of repetitive things within them, people asking the same questions over and over again, which it is what it is. New people join, and I don't blame them for that. But again, me asking myself, could I do this same thing in 1 hour and have it be packed from start to finish with absolute value from every minute that passes? Just value. So that's what this is going to be. I'm really excited for this. So not only a group coaching meeting every other week and Ask Me Anything every other week, meaning every week, there's going to be a meeting hosted by me. And then throughout this, I'm going to have guest lectures. I'm going to have people joining in, other specialists, other business owners, and every conversation we have is going to be super dialed in. It's going to be very much about how to pack as much value into the smallest window of time without any fluff, And there's nothing wrong with fluff. I know some people here really appreciate these tangents and the kind of flow of it all, but I do very much believe, and I hope this resonates with people, that 2025 is not a fucking year for fluff. Remove all the bullshit you're consuming today. Get it out of your life. Because if you haven't realized the shit that's going down on the world stage right now, then I don't know what to tell you. But the fuckery that's unfolding is going to make it so uncomfortable for the average person, and the person who unfortunately has to deal with this in the worst case are people who are distracted. And most people on this planet right now are distracted. No offense, we're not targeting any particular area or calling people NPCs or any of that. It's just, let's be real here. The distractions are just off the rails, So I'm really excited for this because I feel this is a way to actually optimize the year from start to finish. I'll be getting into this more later, but I just wanted to kick this off with letting people know about kind of my trajectory, where I'm headed. This new university enrollment is open now. If you were to go to watersabove.university, we have limited spots available. This enrollment will be ending soon, and I will also be launching it officially on January 14th. So just a couple days away. Really, really stoked for this because the way it's going to start out is going to be probably the most unique experience you've ever had, whether it be with a course or another coach you've worked with or another online university. This numerology blueprint that we're going to be launching with is absolutely sick. Working with a coder in our community, shout out to Chenzo. We've been collaborating together on making an esoteric numerology calculator. This numerology calculator will give you a number that is not the same as your typical life path number. And that's how you're going to start this university. You're going to be getting this esoteric numerology. Then you're going to plug this into effectively, I made all these different definitions or explanations, descriptions of what those numbers are symbolic of. And then from there, it's like you'll have a brand new outlook on what life path was. We're going to be then taking that into the university community that is included with this. And you get that for a full year, by the way. Everything that I'm explaining actually is a full year's worth of access. So AMAs, weekly group coaching call, university community. But yeah, we're going to be taking this numerology aspect and embedding it into all the areas of what we're doing here at the university. So it's going to be very like tailor made to you specifically, whatever your essence is. And everybody has a different essence. We know this, these personalities, these archetypes. And if I had to summarize really what this is, it's a co-creation space. Not only a co-creation space just in general, though, it's one that's very high output. So I'm going to be keeping people accountable throughout this. Every single week, we're going to work on creating stuff, not consuming stuff. This is a place to create, to produce. So by the end of this, you're going to walk away with a portfolio of stuff that you'll look back on in a year and go, whoa, I would have never done this in 2024 if I didn't have this blueprint, if I didn't have this community I was surrounded with, if I didn't have this accountability, or if I didn't have the necessity to, because I very much feel that 2024 was a preparation year. 2025 is like if you did not prepare in 2023 or 2024, it's really time to start taking this more seriously. The implementation specifically of artificial intelligence is likely to be one of the most ground shifting things that we all go through over the next 2 to 3 years specifically. We're moving into a lunar cycle in just a couple months. I'm not full-blown bearish or full-blown doom and gloom for 2025. 2026 is really where I see there to be real serious changes. So the stuff that's happening in 2025, consider it a destroyer year. It's a year of destruction. 2026 will be the foundation is rebuilt. 2027 will be the year of you'll start seeing the new system that they've been showing you in like a Black Mirror episode that will become real life in front of your eyes. I promise you. And it has everything to do with where we are cyclically. We're moving into another Shemitah cycle. And this Shemitah cycle is very, very important. So we're talking about 2028 into 2029. The reason why it's so important is because the last one that we just had, that 7-year cycle that was between 2021 through 2022 and 2023, and then our Jubilee year, this was effectively a 50-year cycle. And a 50-year cycle being complete, the moment it was over in October, we had what happened with Israel and Hamas. The moment Jubilee was over. And what I want you to realize is the next one we're moving into will be post-Jubilee. And a lot of people have been asking me lately about my thoughts on the Catholic Jubilee, which is really just the Jesuit Jubilee, which also is a fucking distraction. But anyways, I'll get back to that maybe another time. I do have an upcoming decode I'll be releasing on Patreon. That's called the Year of the Snake Decoded. This one will be going into everything regarding this exoteric Jubilee, the one that's being promoted by the Vatican and all of that jazz. Anywho, these new systems that are going to be built will be here by 2028, 2029, the next Shemitah year. We're talking 15-minute cities, smart cities, all of that. This is not the end times. This is not the worst thing to occur. Like if we compare what's happening now to what was going on in the 1940s in Europe, where they were firebombing cities, I mean, the destruction and that type of horrifying shit that's going down is happening on a much smaller scale than it once was back in World War II. Trust me, there's a lot more peace in this world today. Doesn't mean it's a better world, but we have a lot of access to privilege now compared to back then. Pretty much no one today farms. No one today has any awareness of a lot of skills. So that's where AI comes in. And I have a feeling about AI where right now we're in like the beta test phase, where many things are feeling like, oh, this is helpful, like this is cool. We have these chat GPT and Bard and yeah, this is how the New World Order does what they do best. They get you to use it as a tool and you don't even realize what it's doing to you as the individual, which is you're losing more skills as you use it. Again, people are using this stuff now to rely on for truth or for information. So funny. I see even decoders are using Grok and using these AI bots. Hilarious. I remember this. I forgot who I was telling it to, but I was using ChatGPT and I asked it about when was the last, um, I think I asked it when was the last Rosh Hashanah, and it didn't give me the right date. So I asked it again. I said, when are you sure? And it said, no, I'm sorry. Here's a new answer. And then I said, no, but this isn't correct. It's this date. And then it said, oh, yes, you're correct. And I'm like, then what the fuck am I using you for? What is it? If you give me the wrong answer twice to something I already know for certain, this is clearly telling me that most people that rely on this shit and take it at face value and say, this is going to give me answers, this is going to give me valid information, you're going to stop thinking. And in a world where people pretty much do not think for themselves, anyways, they wait and wait and wait until shit gets horrifying. And then they rely on a government to help them. When has that ever been proven to be the case where they help you? Never. Because it's not about helping you, it's about governing you. Think of what the word government means. Governare mente. It means mind control. And that's all of them, including Trump. They are here to control your mind. Why? Because, like they say in the last Matrix movie, the people like their blue pill. And what they were saying about that was not necessarily that the people like being asleep. It's that the people like the comfort of the Matrix. We all do, though. Promise me. Like, I am almost certain that if we took away your plumbing, we took away your lights at your house, we took away your air conditioner in the summer, you would want the blue pill. That's really what that was saying. It had nothing to do with consciousness, because higher levels of consciousness have nothing to do with a red or blue pill. That's a trap. I hope you guys have realized this. But I don't want to go too deep down that. I suspect when most of us, including myself, by the way, use the term red pill, what we're trying to say is that moment of awakening to the fact that everything is a sham. So I'm not trying to be like the too deep down the rabbit hole right now. We all know what we mean when we say that. Tower Hamlet said XRP dump prediction. Yeah, I'm not worried about that. I have no energy right now for looking at any other people's version of what they think the market is doing. It's no offense to them. It's just after so many years of being a professional chart analyst and watching the attention grab from everyone, I don't care anymore. I'm doing my own thing and I've moved on. Like, crypto has always been a tertiary part of my existence. I've never even made it a secondary thing in my life. It's of course the topic that I cover, but it was never really about the crypto. It's about wealth and sovereignty and self-reliance. Like, if I was asked about crypto, and you guys should all know this by now, if anyone has heard me speak to anyone, I've always said, watch out for what you are worshiping here. Because blockchain technology is not to set you free. It is called blockchain, chain to the block. I taught this in my decoding mastermind with what I believe is amazing visuals. Just to show you, like, in a very simplistic way, this new technocratic system is going to be the oil for this new world. Blockchain technology will be the oil. I'm just looking through the chat. Appreciate you all hanging out with us today. Got 850, 860. This is a good question. Dr. Fire says, will your university help teach the, I suppose you mean esoteric dates to use when making decisions in my own business, etc., or help structure around them? So the idea here is not that the numerology puts you in a box. I don't want to do that. Also, I'm going to be very clear with everyone when they join that it's not about what I have redesigned in this numerology calculator that matters. It's more about you getting a different perspective on the typical utility of life path. So everyone knows about life path. Everyone knows about, like, you take your date, you add that up in a calculator, and you reduce it to below 10, and you'll get numbers 1 through 9, or the master numbers 11, 22, 33. We all know this. Most people do, at least. Perhaps that's a reason why many were attracted to this channel, because you've heard about some of that stuff, along with astrology, or maybe even gematria, which is a very much more esoteric topic. But getting back to answering your question, when it comes to using numerology, we don't want to abuse it. And I think that's what's important here, is because I've heard people, like, I've had people hire me in the past, and then they hit me with this question and be like, I'm aware that I'm like a 7 life path, so should I start my business on a 7? And what I want people to start doing is let the code do what it's here to do. You are not put on this earth, in this physical realm, in the simulacrum. You are not brought here to the simulacrum to be ruled by numbers, codes, astrology, any of that, or your name. That's your identity that deals with that stuff. But your feelings, your soul, your spirit, your etheric essence is always driving you and pushing you to where you have to be. Even your mistakes, even your tragedies, even the horrible things that have happened to you, the things we can call traumas, they happen for, and I know it sucks to say this so simply, but they happen for a reason. And the pain leaves when it's done teaching you. So where we're going with this is to utilize numerology, but not have it use us. So I want to be careful with what I'm talking about here in regards to how we'll be implementing numerology in the university. I don't necessarily think the numerology will help you become more actionable. The numerology will not help you become more courageous. The numerology will not help you take more risks. The numerology will not get you out of the bed and start to put in the work. If you want to change your life, you have to change your life. The numerology is a garnish on the plate, okay? But we need to learn how to fucking farm so that we can get the vegetables and the ingredients onto the plate. We need to learn how to work with the clay so that we can make the plate. What I'm realizing now on this earth, and even in the truther community, is there's this avoidance. So it's very dependent, but that's the energy that I'm on. I do look at it as there's a structural component in a sense, but we're going to be very flow state about it. It's not going to be serious. It's not going to be the main theme, but it's providing guidelines. Just like your name has a guideline, just like your birthday or your social security number or any of that bullshit, like all of that stuff, it just has structure for your identity so that you could be a part of this matrix, right? Like if you were trying to get on a flight and you didn't have your passport and you were like, I don't need a passport, I'm a free man, you won't get on that plane. I don't care what the fuck you say to this customs agent. You can say all this mess about like, I'm a free sovereign citizen and I don't have, you're not getting on that flight. So if you want to behave like that, maybe what you'll need to do is earn so much money to the point where you could fly private everywhere. Like your identity provides structure. Your identity doesn't rule you, though. Your identity is a component of you. What rules you is your actions. It's how honorable you are. It's how trustworthy you are. It's, do you put loyalty into others to then return that loyalty returns to you? That's how I am going to be designing the university. Mr. Jansen, we've missed you. Where have you been? When I looked at all of your posts last year, you were everywhere. You'd be like Turkey, then one day you'd be in like Antarctica, then one day. Anyways, man, I hope you're doing amazing. Really, truly, sending abundance your way. Lemore, gonna be listening whilst in the sauna. I love that. Lemore, I saw today that you made a post in our community Discord that you've been absolutely killing it on ecom over the past year. And I want to congratulate you on that. I believe maybe you've been following along here for three, maybe almost the full time, 3 years. And it's great to see success stories in the wolf pack, really, really just amazing to see. And we will be talking a little bit about ecom in the Waters Above University, but it's definitely a place for if you've been successful at ecom. We would love to have you join us, maybe do a lecture sometime, tell us how your experience went. And for those that are planning to create businesses where e-commerce is an absolute necessity, if it's a big function, we can definitely help you with that to start those businesses and then effectively scale them. But again, it's not like plug and play where it's just easy. There will be work involved. My number one thing that I disliked about ecom when I did it, which by the way, I had about 3 successful e-commerce stores. I had one that was, I would call it pretty successful because it was profitable. And if that's what in business terms means success. But yes, that's not what I think success is, by the way. But I had a 4th that was profitable, let's say that. And I ended up selling it. And that was a really cool experience to develop my own brand from scratch, create, get all the products in alignment and everything, brand it out, and then actually go ahead and sell it to somebody who was interested in buying businesses. It told me something about that I developed a skill through the first 3 successes. It was like, oh, I got good at this. I got good at building out stores. I got good at creating brands. And now someone trusts that I can hand this off to them. It was really a cool experience for me because it feels like I had a very holistic journey through e-commerce. And then it was when it was my time to leave, it was the perfect time for me to leave. I got what I needed out of it. Mystic, I appreciate you. Welcome to Waters Above University. Excited. We're going to be starting in a couple days. Matt Ball, much love. Over to the Austrian Alps. Enjoy your time out there in Mother Nature. Lena said a whale purchased 1 billion XRP within the last 48 hours. Pump my bags, baby. Pump my bags, baby. Oh, Cheryl, I'm glad to be able to connect with you guys. We're going to take this one as long as we can go. Much love to Australia. I just realized, and all the Aussie wolves that are tuning in right now, I just realized something. I looked at my data on YouTube, which is probably the best data I could look at, even though it's not 100% accurate because not everyone types in their age or their gender or the exact city they live in. They'll just like be categorized as United States, for instance. And anyways, I looked at my analytics lifetime. So like every single video, everything combined. And Australia is number 3. And the second city, when it's geographically broken down into cities, the second city that watches my channel is Sydney. And it blew my mind. I was like, I had no idea that the Australian wolf pack was so massive. It's like it's at scale right now. And it like makes me emotional, to think about that this art has made it to these all around the world. I'm fucking grateful, man. I lived in Australia for like 9 or 10 months, and it was in Melbourne right before C19 scam, and I was there during the bushfires. It was a quite interesting experience for me. That was actually when my e-commerce stores took off, like when they were, yeah, maybe not the most important to get into that now. Although when we launch Waters Above University, I'll be sharing a couple stories in the beginning, kind of about my journey, and I've said them perhaps broken up into live streams throughout the last 3 to 4 years or in interviews, but we'll have some really powerful stories to share to kind of let people know about what it's been for me as somebody who's a conscious being, but also somebody who wanted to create something that I really feel that stands the test of time, which is what Waters Above is. Even the name of it, I feel like this can go on for beyond me. And getting back to Australia, I'm really excited to see how many people in Australia are tuning in. UK is huge. And the number one city that tunes into my work breaks my heart. It's Los Angeles. And I had no idea. I had no idea until a couple days ago when all of this was going on. So I don't even know what to say that hasn't probably already been said, right? But what's happened in Los Angeles is tragic, you know? Yeah, I don't know what to say. It would sound insincere. Although I know many believe that I'm one of the few sincere people that connects with my audience this way, but yeah, it's just I don't even know what to say about Los Angeles because just the air quality right now, or if you lived in an area that was fine, which it seems very few are, it's like living in an apocalyptic war zone. Of course, I don't know that firsthand, and I'm sure if anyone who lives in LA right now is probably not tuning into this live stream for really important and obvious reasons. If you are somebody that's very close to LA and you have some more insights, perhaps you can share what it's been like. But I know that the smell in the air is unbreathable for sure. It's not just a typical like forest fire. We're talking about like melted cars, plastic, rubber from tires. This is not going to be an easy cleanup. So, yeah, I don't even know how many. I could take this so many angles, but what can we say? I just remember maybe like Matt, if Matt Ball is listening, Matt can probably remember, or someone here could find the live stream that I did like a month or two ago. Super recent live stream. And somebody, and maybe if they're here with us, they can kind of call out, tag me here. But somebody asked, Waters, I live in Los Angeles. I don't know where to go. I don't really know what to do. I've heard you give some warnings. I've heard you say some things, and I just don't know where to go. And I don't remember exactly what I said to it, to that idea, but it was along the lines of stuff that I've been saying for the past probably year and a half. And then I think back, because I don't want to get too into that. That was like a personal response to this person. But where I want to build off of with that is my concern was for the year of the dragon. And remember, like me and Logan, Decode Your Reality, which by the way, if he's here right now, shout out to Logan. We had conversations about the symbolism of the Paris Summer Olympics being the flame. And that flame was like a feminine symbol too. It had this kind of shape of a woman's head, and it looked very feminine, and it was a flame. So, Year of the Dragon, flame symbolism. We had the Copenhagen Stock Exchange burn on the exact date that we anticipated a ritual like that. The spires of that old Copenhagen Stock Exchange were dragons. What was this adding up to? We already know about do. I won't say it, but you guys can spell it out. We know. We saw what happened with Maui. But the whole city of Los Angeles, fuck. That is, what do you say? What do you say? If New York goes through something next, then they're accelerating plans. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, not a lot. Let me take that back because that's not true. Some people are going to say, this is just before the inauguration. And when Trump gets in, he's going to drain the swamp and all this. Bro, you think Trump or Biden or any of these presidents have power to control who's doing this? Are you serious? Wake up. They are sock puppets with microphones. It's a fucking distraction. There's real life events happening to real people. It's always been fucked. There's always been really horrible things unfolding on the world stage. You think they're just ramping up stuff now because of Donnie? You really think? What's up with this mentality? It's strange. The savior technology is so fascinating to me. Maybe we should talk a little bit about that later. But this like savior technology is something that's embedded into all of us, this like daddy syndrome. People give up more of their prana, more of their life force energy to presidents and politicians than they do to their own families. It's wild. Okay, Will said sound actually sounds way better. That's great to hear. Okay, let me get through this. Artful fodder, appreciate you, sending lots of love. Oh snap, Sarah Lynn. Congrats on bringing another wolf pup into the Matrix. Literally, because Matrix comes from matrice, which in French means the womb man. Sending you lots of love. Zantetaji, yeah, that's kind of the comment that I was making. I just personally have no idea. I've tried basic video editing and I could barely figure it out. So when I see like that level of production that we're getting right now on like a Netflix TV show, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. 2 trades, sending you lots of love. Hope you're doing amazing. Breachwater asks about the enrollment for Waters Above University. So it will open again in April, and we'll probably have it sequenced out so that it's every 11 or so weeks, because part of it is this thing called the 9-week accelerator. So right here is the 9-week accelerator syllabus. It explains what's going on in a little bit more detail. I'm going to hide the comment for a moment. As you can see, broken into 3 blocks. Then it has 6 total phases within, and then it goes over a 9-week period utilizing the 369 code. And if I can call this anything, it would be the compass. Then when you're joining in the university, we're going to design the map, get you on track. That's why discovery is the starting phase. So we're going to be discovering the passion to then monetize the passion. And to answer your question, we'll be opening this up again in April, because when we're starting in a couple days, day 1, be on the 14th of January. By the end of this 9-week program, we'll be wrapping it up, giving like a week or so off just to kind of recalibrate, and then launching enrollment again and starting over with allowing new enrollment for the month of April. But one thing to let everyone know about this is this right here is a year access. So you'll be getting access to 1 full year. If I end up doing more 9-week accelerators and you're here with us, you're going to get the next version of it too. So my vision is that by the end of the year, we could potentially have 3 to 4 totally complete 9-week accelerators. It's going to be crazy. So, I mean, I can't even imagine the amount of value that's going to be packed in it, because once we do on the first cohort, we're going to see, refine, make adjustments, and everything is just going to get more and more. Yeah, I can't even wait, man. Because I've been doing my thing now as an entrepreneur effectively at least 7 to 8 years. This journey with Waters Above has been the longest stint, but you can clearly see the scale for yourself. And this came about with no drama. I have nobody on the internet that I'm picking fights with. I let everyone just think, oh, you think you're a better decoder? Have fun. Wear the crown. Right? Kings need crowns. But what's a crown to the clouds? Remember I said that. So really excited for this because we're just going to continue to refine it as we go. First cohort, though, will be at the lowest price. So for those that are interested in joining this, we also have a exclusive discount available for our Patreon supporters, where basically for just $9.99, you'll be unlocking $100 off, making it go down to $8.45, which, by the way, is like half the cost of a cup of coffee a day. And then with having both, so you'd have our Mastermind Community where we focus on cryptocurrency investing. We also have the weekly Red Pill podcast. You get access to that Discord that comes with it, where I also share live updates of whenever I'm buying or selling my investments, which is a very big part of what we're going through now in this phase of the bull run. And then on top of that, you'd also have access to the university. And this pricing came out to be, if you were to do the annual option at the Patreon Mastermind Community, all you got to do is click this link here. When you do the annual option, it comes out to $101.90, and that's the exact discount that you're getting on this. So it's a customized promo code where I'm giving you the entire annual cost of your Patreon membership to apply to this university. Best possible value I could offer for 1 full year. So it covers everything here. You'd see lifetime access to this 9-week accelerator program, 1 year access to our university community, which is going to be a co-creation space, also university coaching calls and AMAs. I brought this up a little bit earlier. If you're just joining in the live stream, I will not be doing weekly live streams here any longer. At least I cannot commit to doing weekly live streams. I will pop in once in a while. I definitely hope to. But with the university, I'm going to be doing a meeting every single week. And they'll all be recorded for playback, including any lectures, podcasts, guest speakers we have on, and any interviews that we have. So this enrollment is now live. Again, for the Patreon supporters, crazy deal. It's very simple. Once you join Patreon, you're going to immediately see a post within Patreon that'll give you that custom promo code. Then you just hop over to this website, you go through the flow, and you'll see at checkout, once you click here, there's going to be a coupon code box. It's very simple, user-friendly, and this is going to be a completely different experience than probably anything you've ever seen before. I'm really, really excited for how the feedback will be just off the jump. But yes, we will have another enrollment opening up in April, and I'll take it from there. But for now, this will be the lowest price to get in for the first cohort. Best value. Somebody said XRP is pumping. I have a really dope podcast that's going to be coming out for this Sunday's Red Pill. It's going to be called the Wolf Moon Special because here for our wolf pack, this is our favorite time of year. This is our moon, the wolf moon, on January 13th. So be dedicating a whole entire podcast to that, going through all of the past wolf moons and deciphering what's been happening in our market. I'll also be covering Stronghold. What else am I covering? I looked through the list. Going to be doing TA on Stronghold because like everyone wants me to look at that chart. TA on... Damn, what's my list? Let me find it real quick. We got Caspa. We got Ondo. We got Decentraland Mana. And we got Stronghold. It's going to be dope. I'm excited. Amy, go ahead over to the website watersabove.university and it'll cover everything you need to know. Appreciate you. Got a super chat from Resiak Lita. Appreciate your support. You said, can you provide some detail as to the time commitment for the university? I want to make sure I have a bandwidth to give 100%. That's a great question. So our weekly meeting will be about an hour. If you can't make the time, which by the way, we're looking for a time frame between like 3 to 7 p.m. Eastern time. So this way that everyone will at least be awake during the time that we do our meetings. And we're going to give it a couple weeks to just kind of get into the flow of things. And then we'll commit to like a standardized time. So we'll know this is the time we'll do it like every Wednesday. I'm not committing to that right now. I'm just giving you an example. So imagine like Wednesday, 4 p.m. Eastern time. That's our meeting. Again, we have people in Australia, we have people in Europe, we have people in, apologies about the noise. Yeah, we have people all around the world, so gotta kind of find something where at least everyone's awake, and that's the perfect time. You said, I suspect it's really up to what you want to commit. The meeting is one thing, but it's about like, how much time are you planning to dedicate? Like, I don't know about you, but if I had an opportunity to stay awake 2 hours later because I knew it would change my life, I would. That's always how I've been. Like, sleep is great and all. Yeah, it's where you repair. But can we all admit that sometimes that 2 hours where we could be getting quality sleep, we're usually giving that up to aimless scrolling on X or TikTok? So I think when we ask this question, it's perhaps my opportunity to remind people that we have a lot of time we kill every day just with mindless bullshit. I'm not saying that's the case for you, by the way, Resiak, by any means. But I would consider going and taking an inventory of how you use your time, which is something we're going to start off the university with for sure. Elevated mindset. You asked about, do you know anything about SMS marketing and scraping numbers from the internet, blasting millions of SMS? No, I don't agree with this at all. I even avoided email marketing for like the longest time. And I had somebody reach out to me and say that I should try SMS marketing and these apps. And it's like, I don't want to do that to people. Like, I think if you have high quality art, The only necessity for an email is to let people, or I mean, I'm not sure exactly what you could market on a text message. I know that there's strategies and there's ways, and I did one time with an app that was built into an e-commerce store that I had, but even that I felt bad about after a while because I was like, I wouldn't want this to be done to me. Why would I want to do it to somebody else? So now with the emails that even I craft, which I make myself, by the way, I uh, I think about the person who's subscribed to my email list, and I treat it more as a notification rather than anything else. I'm not even a big fan of newsletters. Like, I don't really see the value in those as much anymore because, yeah, but that's maybe the kind of person I am. See, that's the thing. I hope people resonate with what I'm about to say because some people might be like, I like newsletter. I'm not trying to take that away from you, but I got to admit, if you want to make a successful business or you're trying to become an entrepreneur, you should really put a lot of focus into what do you like? What do you not like? Write that shit down and then start your business from that energy. Because what will happen is when you create things the way that you want to create and you avoid the things that you don't really resonate with, what that creates for you is you're sending out a frequency into the world that will then reverberate. It'll come back to you with the type of supporters that align with you consciously. So like getting back to the SMS thing or whatever that I just answered, it's like I don't want to do that to people because I don't want that being done to me. So why would I use that strategy? It's just gonna bring me the type of person that doesn't even really resonate with my vision. That's not business. Like, that's not how you grow true honorably. But that's my take. Yeah, we could definitely help with this. Scaling is definitely something that we're gonna be focusing on because we will have people that are, "I already own a business. Why should I join Waters Above University?" Which is something that I actually answer over here in the frequently asked questions section. So if you go over to watersabove.com/join dash university, you'll get to this page. And this frequently asked questions section covers everything. And for the business people, there's really a lot of opportunity for troubleshooting and for optimization. I think a huge thing that I've realized for myself when it comes to working with people who already have successful businesses, and the reason they wanted to work with me is because they like my energy. They like the way I carry myself, and they like the way that even if, like, for instance, if I'm doing a live stream and somebody's just being a troll or if some content creator is trying to say something about me and like get me on their energy, like I just don't succumb to it. I keep my cool. I focus on what I believe is my purpose. And my purpose isn't to bitch and bicker and fight with people. That's not how you grow in this world. That's how you stay small. So I get it. Like, drama for some people is their essence, so they like it. But I've had people who are $10 million portfolios, $50 million total net worth, hire me, work with me. And a lot of the time they just want to talk about like things that are going on in their relationships because that's where there's a lot of fixing, perhaps. There's a big sacrifice to be made when you start earning that much money. This is not for everyone. Being wealthy is not for everyone. That's why very few people become it. So there's a vibe that comes along with somebody who actually wants to embody wealth, which is a big reason I bring this up at the very top of this website. Embodying abundance is a lot different than being abundant. Some people ask for snow and they don't know how to control the snowfall. And what happens is they get hit with an avalanche. They're not ready for success. They're not ready to actually be that caterpillar that breaks through the chrysalis and becomes the butterfly. They're not ready for that transmutation. They want it because they desire it because they saw it for someone else. And that's a trap. There's never been a single time that I've used that tactic to get anyone to believe in me or support me, ever. Nobody knows what my car looks like. Nobody knows where I live. Nobody knows. I'm not flexing on y'all. That to me is like one of the weirdest and dishonorable tactics that I see going on in the space. especially when I see these videos for crypto people that are like, all you got to do is invest in crypto and you'll live in Dubai and drive a Lamborghini. It's like, is that really is that the promotion? Again, like if you like people that are in that lifestyle and that's the consciousness that you're at, which by the way, the cars and all that are cool. Like I value them for what they are. But when you start selling people on that and using that as a marketing tactic, that's where I draw the line. Okay. So I have nothing wrong with the Lamborghini or the Rolls Royces or if you like nice things by any means. You should be into what you're excited about. If you're a car enthusiast, amazing, right? I'm not trying to take that away from you or anyone. I get it, right? But the bigger point here is that if you market yourself that way, you'll only attract customers that are that way. And then what are you left with? It becomes empty and soulless, and all it is about materialism. So when I made Waters Above, I decided to go a new direction because I wanted to have exactly the people that I would want to chill and have a beer with, that I would want to talk about music with for 5 hours straight, that I'd want to talk about like life, not just about fucking crypto. Crypto's cool and all, but like, geez, man, it's just candlesticks on a screen. Like there's a time to move on. It's boring. It's an addiction that a lot of people can't break. And I want to be perhaps the reminder that there's something more to life. So although crypto is a central theme of what we're doing here at Waters Above, it's by no means the purpose. It's just something that's a part of the plan. But what you want to avoid is becoming part of the New World Order's plan. Take some time to think about what I just said. Travis, sending you lots of love. Appreciate this very generous super chat. Hope you're doing well over there in Canada land. You said for someone who wants to start stacking a large sum of gold, when do you believe is a good time to start accumulating? I've been part of the mastermind. Been part of the mastermind community since 21. So you're an OG wolf. Then you helped me upgrade my investment thesis tenfold. Okay, Travis, I am very grateful to be a part of your journey, brother. Gold, and if I could be completely honest with you, do you remember when I was buying gold? It was a good time. I bought gold right before October 7th happened, right before this Black Swan event, 2023. Gold at that time, I'll pull up the chart just so we have a visual so that it's not like me explaining something that could be very much simplified. I believe you should be able to see my chart. I'll remove the moons. I'll remove everything. This is going to answer your question in some way. You see this dip right here, this V shape? There's proof of this, by the way, because if you're a part of, sorry guys, I'm going to remove the comment. If you guys are a part of our mastermind community, I was just talking about this a little bit ago. Mastermind community Patreon supporters get updates of whenever I buy or sell investments. So I sent out a investment update that I was buying gold, and I was buying it during this dip right here when it was at maybe, let's call it 1,850 per ounce USD. So today we're up about 45% on that play, which I would call pretty crazy because this was the final, what would be titled the backup phase of a very long-term horizontal accumulation, kind of just a horizontal trading range. I don't want to get too technical right now. Again, we kind of want to keep our focus away from these investments, but this was the time for me where I started realizing this structure of just day after day after day after day of red candles, and it wasn't technical. It wasn't really making sense. And then we have here, October 7th happens, and we start the reversal right off of that staged, orchestrated event. And we've been up since. Now we have to realize something And by the way, I don't normally do this, but Travis, OG member of our community, so I honor this, and it's a little TA lesson, okay? You see this number over here? That's the 1618. That's the golden ratio. When we pull a fib from the high of July 2020 down to the swing low over here of October 2022, we're going to double click this, and you're going to see this is set up to fib levels based on log scale. And we've already basically tapped this 1618, but I can get into other things, which I will not do right now, but the DXY is getting overheated and it's due to pull back. And I suspect pretty much throughout the end of this month, regardless of the events that unfold with the inauguration of Donald Trump and anything else, we should start to see reversal energy, meaning bullish. And this has to do with the wolf moon. It also has to do with Chinese New Year. It has to do with a bunch of things. So don't want to be too complicated here, but I've already given you guys quite a bit. Buying up at these levels is slightly precarious because the accumulation range was down here. So I'm just being honest with you, okay? It's not me telling you not to buy gold. It's just this was the time to buy when we're in this long-term consolidation range. Anytime that you're chopping sideways for multiple years, especially on an asset that needs multiple years in order to break out of trading ranges, just keep that in mind. Like, what Bitcoin takes 8 months to do, this thing takes 3 years to do. And that was the horizontal trading range that Bitcoin just dealt with from March 2024 through August, let's call it October 2024. And we exited it in November. It's the same style breakout. And you know where Bitcoin's at right now? It's this. It's this chop right here. We're kind of snaking around this 1618, which is on the micro pull. This one up here is the macro pull. And that is why I'm giving you a warning, because I have this fib pulled from here to here. And we're coming across a very fucked up resistance line. So we have our major rejection back at this blow off top in 1980. We have the rejection over here in 2011. And now we've literally just come back up to this. And it's in alignment with the 1618 of this more macro pull from 2011 down to 2015. Everything I just said to you right now is like not positive for me feeling confident to tell you to buy. It would be like irresponsible to tell you to buy. Now, could we have a scenario like this play out where we get above the trend line, back test it, and then we continue? Absolutely. But remember, gold takes time. I don't know if gold is going to be what you all think it's going to be. Also, not trying to be controversial here. I'm just sharing my truth. We're moving into a world where oil won't even have value anymore. It's a whole new thing. Let me get back. I know gold is a store of wealth. Many believe that. It's fine that you believe that. Travis, what I would maybe think about is save that money and wait till this housing market goes to shit. Just look at what happened in Los Angeles. And I'm not trying to go back to that topic because it's very emotional. It's very soon. It's happening literally as we record. So I'm being sincere right now, by the way. But what just occurred in Los Angeles is mind-blowing. And what do you guys think the plans of the New World Order is? You think it's to make gold go up and up and up forever? Or is it to rebuild a world that's ran by artificial intelligence? So if gold was back in the horizontal trading range that it once was, that I was explaining, then I would be like, definitely consider accumulating right now. But we're kind of at the top. Can we go higher? Yes. But what are we talking about here? We're talking about like an extra 20% maybe before we have a fucking crazy market crash in 2026. And guess what? When we have that market crash in 2026, do you think gold is going to hold its value? No. Never has, and it never will. It will correct with everything else. Why? Because it is also a speculative asset. And we're moving into a world that's so digital that gold is irrelevant. So there's no utility, there's no purpose really for it. And by the way, I started off everything I just said by admitting that I bought gold. It's part of my investment thesis, but I bought it at a time where, as a professional technical analyst, I was able to determine that when we move up and when we effectively crash, which we will, I'm good in the hood because I don't see it breaching the levels of which I've entered. It's the same thing with Bitcoin. Buy Bitcoin when it's at the end of a lunar cycle and then just hold on and enjoy the ride. You win. Bitcoin never breaks lower. It just doesn't. Well, gold is similar, guys. And you can go back to the gold chart when their official ETF launched, and Bitcoin's looking fucking similar. So I think that the odds, if you're trying to actually profit from this whole thing, if you're not down with the Bitcoin trade long term and you also have a lot of money that you're looking to be smart with, I would either consider build a business, which is what Waters Above University will be, which is like, I don't even know, 30% of an ounce of gold, right? Or I would just wait it out, get into perhaps short-term plays, ROI, get as much ROI that you can out of this alt season, and then peace. And when you dip out, prepare for 2026. It's going to be life-changing. I'm excited, by the way. I can't wait till like Mastermind Community 2026 when we're watching like the death spiral of the market. The market is in a death spiral and we're chilling because we know. Smoker Club, you said let them know, bro. Wait, I appreciate you, brother. Hope you're doing amazing. James said decode the NFL playoffs. James, come on. Come on. Come on, Brody. But I do have this post over here. Maybe some of you seen this. Which, by the way, like I am effectively shadow banned on this platform. I don't know how it happened. Anyways, I made this post, and some of you might have watched the Black Moon Decoded. Show of hands if you know what I'm talking about. But I released this Black Moon Decoded on November 1st. And this was a slide from that presentation. And I do not watch sports. I'm not a sports decoder. I've never pretended to be one. I am an esoteric investor. I do decoding specifically on markets. I don't do decodes on people. I kind of hate doing decodes, personalized decodes. I did them like my first year, and I soon after learned that it's just not my thing. And then I did sports decoding intermittently, probably on couple occasions, but it's always been the Super Bowl that's been interesting for me because of the symbolism, and I suspect the popularity of it, and then also the World Cup or the Olympics. But like these events are just too far apart, right? So the Super Bowl is like this yearly opportunity for me to check in with the symbolism and see how this could apply to other things that are going on in the world stage. And by the way, you should all know by now it does. Why? If you watched my Black Moon Decoded, which this slide comes from, by the way, I talked about the connection between the San Francisco 49ers, and Kamala Harris, and how she was the 49th vice president who became the 49th president in the year that the 49ers lost to the Chiefs right before we went into the lockdowns, where Biden won. And again, some people are going to be like, Biden didn't actually win. It was really Trump. Who the fuck cares? The exoteric thing is that everyone believes Joe Biden's president. Just like everyone believes in a rigged football game. It's just belief. It's the technology of how we perceive things. What you know on the sidelines doesn't actually affect what's happening for the collective. It affects what's happening in your little universe, and hopefully you keep it there. Anywho, 49ers lose, Chiefs win. Month later, C-19 pandemic, lockdowns, Trump loses, Patriots feel defeated. Then we have 4 years later, Year of the Dragon, rematch between the same teams, Chiefs and 49ers. 49ers lose again, but in overtime. This is very important because Kamala Harris was born in the San Francisco Bay Area. California is losing. Well, the event that just occurred that's still going on as we speak ties perfectly into this because we're still in the Year of the Dragon. I went ahead during this decode and I decided to add in a section that talked about sports because of a couple of things that I was realizing with this connection with the 49ers and the Chiefs. And I decided I'm not going to do a full-blown Super Bowl decode, but I'll at least pick a couple of the teams that I believe will make it. And these are the 4 teams that I went with by November 1st. I've already made up my mind on these on like the last couple days of October, because I had to make the presentation and then I filmed it and recorded it and put it up on the 1st. So this was 5 days before the election. I hate using the word prediction, but we determined inside of this decode, I determined that Trump would win because of that connection to Kamala and the 49ers and how they lost. Also, she was born in 1964, which was the Year of the Dragon. And I was seeing that that energy was kind of canceling itself out by other things that were going on. We got to this connection, and then I decided, well, who's likely to make it this year? Because I was already diving deep into all the dragon years, all the snake years, all the rabbit years, etc. And there's clear connections. It's how I was able to determine the Chiefs would win the last Super Bowl. And the one, sorry, I take that back, because the full-blown Super Bowl decode I did for the Chiefs was when they went against the Eagles. Although I said my piece on my take with the 49ers in advance too. Did I do a full-blown Super Bowl decode last year? I've been so busy and so dedicated to other tasks that I don't even fucking remember. You guys would have to remind me. Was there a Super Bowl decode on Patreon last year? My mind is like scrambled eggs. But getting back to this, went ahead with the Baltimore Ravens because there's a connection for Dragon years where they've always won. When they're in a Dragon year, they win. So I went with them as like the core component. I'm not saying they're going to win this Super Bowl, so please like take this one step at a time here. But 50% into the NFL season this year, I picked these 4 teams. These 4 teams made it. And I think that's good enough, guys. Like shit. For somebody who doesn't even know what the fuck's going on, I can't name you one player on any of these teams. I have no idea. I haven't watched a football game probably in like 12, 13 years. No clue. No clue. But I've been picking the winners. So it's all about the decode for me. And it's almost better that I don't watch the sports because then I don't have a bias. Perhaps that helps. But the Lions absolutely killed it this year. Like mind-blowing performance. Detroit, not looking so good. There's definitely certainly code here for whoever the winner ends up being. Probably not going to be a positive thing. Remember, when the Chiefs recently won the Super Bowl on Valentine's Day, right after that, there was a shooting in Kansas City at the Chiefs parade to celebrate their Super Bowl win. So this isn't good. It's about energy balance. That's what I want to teach people when it comes to decoding. It's never about positive or negative. It's about energy balance. Everything in this realm is balance. We have night, we have day. When it gets nighttime, you get sleepy and you go to bed. And that is a reset, a raw set, raw and set, God of chaos, disorder. Then you need order, Ra. See where I'm going with this? This symbolism on the Super Bowl logo, to me, is fires. It's flames. We had the 49ers lose. California has been ritualized. I believe C19's first big story that broke for the United States had to do with the city of San Francisco. Correct me if I'm wrong. But if you go back to Spanish flu, you'll see that was the same case. It was Seattle and then San Francisco. And then it took over and became what we all know in our history books, which, by the way, are kind of bullshit. But wait 1 second, guys. I need to close this door. All right, all right, all right. The sound probably got a little better too. Just needed a little breeze in here. So maybe I'll decode the Super Bowl. I don't know. But I picked these 4 teams. All of them made it to the playoffs. I'm not sure what are the odds of that. But again, none of this really actually matters to me. It's more about I'm waiting for the symbolism here, because with the Commanders, we had a bunch of connections too. Remember, there was a couple decodes I did back maybe 2 years ago talking about Doug Williams, and that was a connection that I made to determine how things would go between the Chiefs and the Eagles. The connections with Yale, Skull and Bones in the 2-2-3 year. I was also able to determine that the Denver Nuggets would win the NBA championship that year. Again, the Denver Nuggets logo is literally the skull and crossbones. The pickaxes, that comes back to mining gold. They're the golden nuggets. What's going on in San Francisco? 1849, the gold rush, the 49ers, tied to gold and mining. This is a symbol. This is symbolic of this old world is behind us, and they are replacing it with a new thing, with a new system. And you probably all know what that is. It's called blockchain technology. It's a very polarizing question. What are your thoughts on God? Are you Christian? What effect would that have on how you feel about me or what I say? This question is like a strange bear trap. I know you probably mean well, John, but I'm not entirely sure of the value. I have a section inside of my expansion mastermind course called Asking Effective Questions. And sometimes I think questions like this specifically are to ask me, am I on your team or am I not on your team? Because when I look at humanity and I look at the members of our world, I never consider to even value such a thing. I welcome in all types of people, their, theosophical belief system, whatever they subscribe to. You do you, boo-boo. But for me, I feel this question is absolutely 100% based in, is he the guy that subscribes to the thing that the group think that I subscribe to? And then we leave the whole situation with, you're either like super down to keep going on this journey, or it's like break away because that thing didn't meet your expectations or what you desired. It's the same thing the vegans do to people. It's the same thing that like the liberals do with the whole like trans movement and all that other shit. It's like, if you voted for Trump, then you're like a bigot, racist, this, that, and the third. It's like, it's very similar, I've noticed. Funny enough, it's the Trump people that also care about, are you Christian, that also talk about like the Jesus Savior complex, that also like, it's just like exhausting. So John, I'll answer it like this. We are made in God's image. We are God's. We have life in us. That life is light. You either have awareness of this light or you are dim. You are dark. The thing we call a Christian is dim. It's a flickering light bulb. And it wants so badly for something to come and change it. The filament's fucked. God doesn't want you to be a light bulb. It wants you to be the light. Move on. "415 years old. Yes, I would absolutely come back to Melbourne. I loved, aspects of that city, for sure. Amazing food I had there. I remember there's this one place, I forgot the name of it, and I wish I could remember it because I would love to promote it, but it was like a soba noodle spot. Um, I don't know if it was in Clifton Hill or somewhere in that vicinity, but it they, like, made their own soba noodles out of buckwheat that they were grinding in their shop. So they were fresh milling the buckwheat to make the soba. Mind blowing, amazing. Absolutely loved it. Got a super chat from Green Bitcoin Farmer. You said thank you for all your work. Much love from Tenerife, Canarian Islands. Hey, have you seen this? I believe it's a Netflix special. I'm not sure if it's available globally, but the Netflix special is it's like a series, a limited series, and it's called La Palma. Check that out if you have a chance. Not trying to be like, doom and gloom scare tactics or anything, but pretty interesting. La Palma. Kimmy, this is a good question, but I think it's very important to build some structure here. You said, what do you think is the best country in the world where we can live in for the next few years? It's very tough because I'm a firm believer that you need to travel to experience and feel into things. And if you vibe with a place or you resonate with a place energetically, then what does my opinion matter? Right, Kimmy? Like, if I told people the places that I love the most, they would think I'm boring, you know? Like, I'm not like a big tropical island paradise guy, you know? Like, I love Prague, Czech Republic, going to a brewery that's from the year 1460, and I'm the only one in there, like, really, like, that isn't 90 years old. I don't know, like, I really don't know how to answer this question. I think what people want out of me is for me to just label a place and be like, "That's the one." But it's never about me, it's about you. It's about what do you feel? It's about what do you resonate with? So I just wanted to set that foundation. Just wanted to set that foundation. I don't know where's the best place for you to live, but what I think and what I'm hoping for this new university that I'm creating is with this co-creation space, it's the opportunity for us to gather the people that actually want to make a change. Like the people that actually are planning to put their investments and their money that they've profited in this bull run or in life in general, whether that be from cash flow that you've earned or however it's going for you, and reinvested into building new systems, reinvested into building new worlds. So I think that's more my vision. And I do have to say, if I could tell you areas to avoid, I would say avoid the coasts of as many places as possible. Stay more inland. I don't know if there is a safe place or a best country in the world because there's going to be so many other things that are involved in this process. Legally being there for long term, being able to, get through the documentation process, visas, all of that, I mean, I would also say stay away from very major cities like that are too congested and where it's tough to feel peace. If you're somebody who values peace and you value like serenity, being in London, for instance, like just realize that they're going to have these 15-minute kind of cities built within as regions within London. They're going to do the same thing with many cities around the world. If you look at Europe, a lot of Europe already has that laid out. So I don't have a problem with the cities though. I love Copenhagen. I love uh, Munich. I love Prague. I love Naples, Italy. Like, there's so many amazing places, but the world's changing and we're in a volatile time right now. So it's tough to call. But I would just say the coasts are probably something to avoid. Got a super chat from Melanie Menendez. Appreciate you. You said, what platform do you recommend we take profits? I'm not sure where you live, Melanie. Like, I think it's very important. If you're not an American, all the information I'm saying maybe isn't, that has no utility for you. So in America, I believe Coinbase and Gemini are probably better than Uphold or anything like the Bybits or that. Like, those things are good, and all these leverage trading platforms do allow you the opportunity to work with large amounts of capital or even very small amounts if you go through some sort of KYC process, obviously. And yeah, I mean, you could do it that way, but for me personally, I've been putting most of my energy into Gemini and Coinbase. Binance.us is kind of like losing its steam. Uh, Uphold, I don't want to be negative to Uphold, but yeah, it's had its problems. Now that XRP can be put on Coinbase and be put on Gemini, I don't really feel comfortable having all of my XRP on Uphold, for instance. But if you're living globally, my advice is always look into the most used, highest liquidity, trusted exchange in your country where you're living. Also, this advice might be tough if you live in New York, because sometimes New York is tough for people to open up accounts. Jason C says, I'm in LA, few miles from Palisades. Air sucks. I am sending you love, brother. This is, I can't even imagine what you're dealing with right now. I hope you and your family are safe. Truly. Wow. We already have people in our live that are talking about that. This is, wow. Kathy says they caught a guy starting fires, and I'm sure they're not going to prosecute him. When you do the deed of the New World Order, they give you gifts. I watched a video of Donald Trump kissing the wall. I don't want to hear it about how he pledges allegiance to America. He pledges allegiance to the corporation of America, which is ran by Zionism. Daddy Zion runs the show. He is a supporter of this. Where else do we need to take the conversation? It's like a dead end, a belief trap. Many fell for it. This is good. Joe says, it's not the same. I was left, now I'm right. It is not the same. If I took off your left arm, You'll quickly realize how important it was. Guitar Gods TV, appreciate you. You said, "Hey man, can't wait. I'll be signing up today. I know this university will spark new inspirations and concepts for the future." Absolutely. It is going to be a revolution of inspiration, motivation, and action. There will not be any week that goes by in this university where you won't see an immense amount of production of people creating and sharing vulnerably what it is that they're working on. And if you're somebody who's a little bit shy, don't worry, because that's the kind of space we want to have, where we're encouraging everyone to share because we're here to help each other. That's the goal. And I believe at the end of this university, like even probably in the first couple of months, we're going to see new businesses formed through the university, and we're going to see people finding their business partners, which is going to be so exciting to see the businesses that form from this university. I'm really, really stoked. Just looking at some of the chat. About an hour and a half in. It's been fun hanging out with you guys. Jimmy Zen McKay says, "You always sound good, but we'll never know if you have a face for radio." You just got to deal with that. You could imagine that I look like a 450-year-old like Dumbledore. You could think that I look like Dumbledore. Is that who I mean to say? Let me look real quick. I gotta Google this. Sometimes I just say stuff and it's like I don't even know where I'm downloading it. It's the Harry Potter guy, right? Yeah. Yeah, I look like Dumbledore. Will that make you feel better? Does he have a face for radio? I don't know. No way. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right, but as Jew Kani says, my son is also a wolf buff. He's been listening to the live streams already from the womb. Oh my, oh my god! It's like, when you hear these parents that are like telling telling the mothers to put headphones on the belly and listen to like classical music. It's, don't do that with me. Don't do that. That's not good. Don't do that. Although the kid will be programmed for like some serious confidence in life. He will not take shit from anyone. He will pave his own roads. There'll be, but the average person will not. Yeah, trust me, I had to go through it. I had to go through all of these years of people being like, "What did you just say? What? Oh, I can't believe you just said that. How dare you?" Like that clip from what's her name? The clip, Greta Thunberg. How dare you? Yeah, I'm not really too worried about the names here. I think I've watched actually quite a bit of people struggle with creating stuff because they put too much energy into the wrapping paper and not enough into the what's in the box inside. My methodology for creation is all about like what is the value of the thing that it is that you're about to share with the world. The wrapping paper is just something we save for the end, just like a gift. I'm really glad that you said this, Mystic Journal, because I initially spent, again, I just said it literally seconds ago. I put so much energy, like 90% into what's this going to be? How can I be a part of it? What can I commit to? Like what I said earlier, like I know in order for me to move forward with Waters Above University, I can't be doing live streams every single week, or at least I can't commit to them. I will pop in here once in a while, but this is something where it's like, if I want to move forward with it, I want it to also be at a price point which I believe is worth the year. It's a full year. So I'm glad that you feel this way. I mean, I have clients that have made millions of dollars off of just things that I'm doing on YouTube, let alone the stuff that they've gotten from joining the Mastermind community and access to the Patreon. Somebody said, why is your class? It's not a class. You're getting 52 meetings, group coaching calls, access to a community of people that there will be many millionaires inside of the community that are just there to share their wisdom, that are just there to share what they've accomplished. So it's not a moment, it's a full year. And if you do some cocktail napkin math, you'll see that this is $2.58 a day to have access to something that, yeah. Anyways, I don't even need to talk about that. I know my value. No, I am not Dutch. Although the Dutch wolf pack is quite big. Do I sound Dutch? That's interesting. I never thought about that. "32 plus 1 says, Jordan, why do you do this? Because this is my purpose. Simply. Yes, this is Switzerland in the background. We're just looking through some of the chat right now. This is very unfortunate to hear. Update from Cheryl Drew, who says, I'm about 45 minutes from Los Angeles and it's still so windy. Fires keep spreading. That's fucking tragic. That's really, really sad. Pattern break. I've actually, and you probably do too, know of many who've gone through typical indoctrination education where they pay for a university at $150,000. It takes them 4 years. And then when they're done with it, they walk away with zero. They walk away with no skills. All they've acquired is to learn how to be a worker. So the idea of the amount of money that it costs in comparison to what's going on in the traditional system, I believe, speaks for itself. I have friends that I know have spent $175,000, $180,000 on going to college, and they still deliver Uber Eats 6 years later, 7 years, 8 years, 9 years, still ongoing. People are still not able to figure out how to become an entrepreneur. They don't know how to monetize their passion. This purpose of the university is 100% about you learning how to monetize what it is that excites you about life. At the cost of, honestly, what? Ingrid, appreciate you. You said, I just wanted to thank you for your kind reply on Patreon. Oh, yeah. You boost my energy and confidence. Do we need to be an entrepreneur or wannabe to join the university? Here's the thing. It's up to where you're at. Like, I do know there's been people that have spent maybe 10, 15, 20, perhaps even longer amounts of time, very large time horizons where they haven't been their own boss, like where they've only been in that position of they're working for somebody else. And there's a way to tap into that same essence in a way where you're not the one taking the full responsibility within our university, because there will be people who need help. So I want everyone to think, this is a partnership opportunity for a lot of people too. There's people that are just natural born leaders that have the ability to lead and they have the ability to hold that space. And then there's the need for people to help them support their vision. So maybe not necessarily just as an entrepreneur, but being a part of something that's a lot more than the traditional system, where we work for the beast, we work for the system, instead, we work for each other. And that's the thing that I want to implement here, and I want to redesign, I want to recreate that. So I know that there's plenty of people who are perhaps even somewhat successful entrepreneurs, but they need to scale and they need help. And this will be a hub for people to help each other. There's going to be programmers or people that are devs or people that are interested in coaching and whatever. There will be opportunities within this community where you will become known to other people who need your help. It's a hub. It's probably the best way I could put it. So wherever you are at in life, it's not solely just about the entrepreneur thing, but that is one of the aspects that I know will be attractive to many because a lot are trying to leave the workforce. Many believe that it is sketchy. They don't trust it. And also, no offense, or I'm not trying to hurt anyone like with this thing I'm about to say, but let's just be honest that these events that have just happened with Asheville or with Maui or with Los Angeles, I mean, we're starting to see so much chaos ravage and destroy real estate that even real estate is starting to become like, mm, is that what I should be? Like, again, I'm not trying to scare people out of an industry, but like whoever has been dealing with these regular natural, quote unquote, natural disasters, which we all know that isn't the case. We all know what's actually going on here. The amount of them per year now and how many people are getting displaced and affected by it, whether it be with that or there's the other thing that's going on, which is the war situation, it's making real estate no longer look like a desirable option for quote unquote entrepreneurs. I mean, look at Netflix has like 5 shows dedicated to, maybe not 5. I'm speaking out of my ass here because I don't even watch this garbage, but like I've seen what looks like many at least shows. I'm trying to be like speaking truth here. So correct me if I'm wrong. But there's like full-blown shows dedicated to just real estate in Los Angeles. Like what does that show do now? What do they move to Montana? And then you have a bunch of like silicon fake women trying to sell real estate to cowboys in Montana. Like this shit ain't gonna work. They needed to make that show in LA. And now that's all like, what are we left with now? This is a new world. I don't want to be insensitive, but I'm just saying like even real estate now is starting to feel like, oof, you're either buying the top or you have to think about this other thing that's happening, which is BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, and all these other big beasts are buying it all. And if they can't buy it from you, they will burn you out of it, or they will flood you out of it, or they will do something. And this is why cities are sketchy. This is why that particular business model is going to be completely revamped. It will be a new way to do that business, like everything else. Just like the invention of the internet, there needed to be a change in the way we once did business. Well, we're moving into a new type of internet. We're moving into an internet where it will be mostly ran by artificial intelligence, which already is. And then now we have this other thing that we're dealing with. And you've already heard my take. I've said this a couple weeks ago about people that are doing gig work. Like the gig work thing is very much volatile, and I don't know how much longer we'll have with it, but I don't feel good about the Uber thing or the Lyft or Bolt or Wolt or any of these programs. These are not long-term. These are temporary. Very much temporary. Because they've already designed fleets of self-driving robo-taxis, and they are going to be implemented most likely by 2026. So I've shared this vision before. Imagine you land in an airport, and if you land in an airport in like somewhere like Mexico, for instance, you're going to see like 1 million people with signs being like, pick me. Yeah, that might last longer than what I'm about to say, but, like, if you were to land in Chicago, Los Angeles, Berlin, Germany, wherever, you get out of the airport, nobody's, like, waving a sign to tell you to, like, pick me, unless they're a hired driver specifically. But you'll go to the curb and there's a taxi there, or there's a section where you could order from a rideshare app, but you have to kind of do it yourself, right? There's a little more effort involved. The taxi thing is obviously very low effort, but I'm saying that you get there and there's a person, and this person like lugs your bag into the trunk and then they just take you away to the place you got to go. I suspect that by like 2027, they will put new laws in airports at the airport level, which, by the way, needs to work directly with defense, military, government in local sense, and government on the broader sense. Like in America, we call it the federal level. These airports are going to ban rideshare apps, and they're going to likely ban taxi drivers because it will be the airline company that actually buys a fleet of these self-driving robo taxis, most likely with humanoid robots, and that is what they will use to cut costs. And this is part of the agenda to push forward with a social credit system, or a credit system for payments, which would be like a universal basic income. I think that the people that are in a position where they're relying on these new changes that, believe me or not, are temporary since C19. Like you all know Uber and this stuff has existed beyond C19, but it really started to become a thing post C19, like ordering your groceries online, ordering all the food to the house, ordering everything to the house, really relying on those services. And then it opened up this opportunity for so many people to have jobs, right? It definitely opened up the gateway to many people to be able to become, I suspect, an entrepreneur, right? Well, that was the New World Order's temporary fix to a long-term plan. And the long-term plan is what I just said. So what we'll probably see in replacement for things like Uber is a business that made it through whatever this financial crisis will be, will hire or will invest 30,000 or whatever on a payment plan in their own robo-taxi or potentially robo-taxi fleet, and that will do the delivery service for them. Amazon will do this. All big companies will do this. So you'll see this trickle effect unravel in so many ways, in so many ways, that you'll just feel the pressure more and more and more and more. So I call Uber and all of this stuff temporary because it is. It is. And also, nobody wants to be like in their 60s, 70s or whatever, relying on picking up groceries for people like that. It breaks my heart when I see that. Seriously, it breaks my heart when I see somebody who's having to do that. And why? Because most of the world has adopted a culture and philosophy of every man for himself. Everyone just needs to figure shit out. So because the 20-year-old or 25-year-old son is going to college and burning all of his money in that fucking scam, not learning any skills, learning how to become an employee, and then he leaves that scam and then becomes an Uber driver because there is no job on the other side. He can't support his mother. He can't support his father. Then they have to take on those gig jobs. This is fucked. This should not be our world. But that's the way we're doing it. We're living a world where every man for himself. This is why when any crisis happens, we go into that mode where we start waiting around for the savior to come. Where are the firefighter? Where are the police? Where are the we have allegedly 8 billion people on this planet. What percentage of them are police, firefighters, military, politicians? Now, I have no problem with police, by the way, at all, or firefighter. This isn't to like point out if there's any negative here. That's not my point at all. But remember, they've revamped the system so that doctors do not work for the patient. The doctors work for the company. The firefighters don't work for the people. The firefighters are pledging allegiance to the company, just like America pledges allegiance to the corporation, not the people. You pledge allegiance as a child to the corporation. We've all been hypnotized. The police, the military, the firefighters, many of them are very good people. They've been sucked into a scam purely through financials to do immoral things to their people because everyone is dog eat dog. It's every man for himself. It's fucked up. I could talk about this for a while and attack it from other angles. I don't want to sound like there's any judgment here. It's just me pointing out some of the core issues of what's happening in our world today and why when these events happen, like we're seeing right now in Los Angeles, there is no plan. There is no way to go about the solution. Because the goal was to put 40, 50, 60 years of people relying on their state and not working together. There's 8 billion people on the planet. If only 10% of us started working together, this matrix would fucking crumble. It wouldn't work anymore. It wouldn't work. All this child trafficking and all this drug trade and all this awful shit, it wouldn't work. Just wouldn't. But we rely on the systems that have been put in place that swear oath to the corporations to take care of it all. And then we complain about it. So my methodology and my mode is to not complain about it. I will be the change. I will do what it takes so that I can take care of my mother and father if I need to. I don't have a father to take care of, but I got my mom's back. And I feel that's my responsibility. We live in a world today where nobody feels the sense of responsibility to take care of their people. So what we see is a mom having to drive Uber. I think it's just tragic. Again, there's no judgment here. There's nothing negative about this. You got to do what you got to do. I respect that. But when something goes wrong, you twist your ankle and you need to go to the hospital or whatever. And like now you have this hospital bill and it's like, what do you do? The whole system, Zionism, by the way, is what it is built to fuck us. And why? When all of those doctors can just create their own system so that we don't need to worry about insurance companies and all this fucking other scams that are interwoven into the main scam, and we could just take care of each other. Like, what are we doing here? Why? Because the matrix is too strong. The matrix needs to give you a doctor's license. It needs to give you all these certifications. It needs to get you involved in it. It's like a secret society. You just don't even realize you're a part of it. When you put kids in a school and they're pledging allegiance to a flag or they're doing any of these rituals, like it's to get you to separate from your parents and to make you connect or be tethered to your state. From day one, they're doing this to you. I think it's time to make a change. Rob G, I'm not focused on that right now. One thing at a time. Kathy comments, people don't usually flaunt their things. I think what we were discussing was specific to the people who are in a position of influence. We weren't talking about just the general people that walk around, in public. We were talking more to the people of influence. Like when you see the Liver King telling you to eat primal, but he's telling you to eat primal while he's on a private jet. It's like, wait up. So I eat the way like you're saying that the caveman or whatever eats, but then you're telling me it on a private jet. What is it? Which one is it? Again, no problem with the way you wanna eat, and no problem with how you wanna travel. Private jets look fun. You do you. The thing that I'm exposing, though, is look at the marketing of it all. You see the thing in front of you, but you're not looking at the it's like we're getting green screened here. Yes, people at levels of influence usually flaunt their things to market themselves to lure you in to believe in them. Their essence isn't what gets you to believe in them, usually. Brian, oh yeah, with the gold. It's crazy because I like stayed away from gold for so long, and it was just because of the opportunity that I saw at the time of crypto, which was obvious. And gold is definitely always an opportunity. It's just what I was answering before is like, if somebody's telling me they want to go hard on a gold investment now at these prices with those technicals and that chart and my awareness of what's going to happen with fiat money and this, that, and the third, like I get it, guys. I have my finger on the pulse here. I still feel uneasy telling somebody to confidently buy at these levels. Crypto Bunny asks, when will the housing market crash? I feel like it's already happening. It's already topped. And what we're seeing with insurance policies and a lot of the stuff that's going on there, I mean, it pretty much feels like we've topped out. It's when does it crash? Well, the roller coaster has made it to the top and it has started to head over the edge. This type of housing market crash will be different though, because it will be an everything crash. I don't necessarily know if it'll be triggered by housing though, because what's going on today is not the same as the subprime mortgage crisis that was 2007, 2008. It is not. You need to put much more money down on homes now. Back then, it was very different. It was like no cash down loans, right? Like ninja loans. Very different today. Um, but one other thing to mention, and I suspect real estate professionals or people who are like analysts to specifically this field, what they would admit is the reason it doesn't feel like it's crashing already. Please pay attention to what I'm saying because I feel like the crash has already started. It's already going on. It's already topped, and there's really nobody able to buy this market. And with what happened in LA, I think people are going to feel very unconfident right now purchasing homes because they're thinking, well, when is this going to happen to us? And that's just the kind of like the PTSD of it all, you know? And if people think that that doesn't actually have merit to it, then just think about what the '08 crisis was. Like everyone was scared of the market when it was correcting, but you should have been bullish when it's crashing, right? You get excited when others are fearful and you get fearful when others are greedy. So when you're seeing something crash, you should be salivating. You should be like, yes, this is it. Right. But people panic. They have fear. Um, Let me get to my theory and then I need to move on. What I said is that when these properties are selling off or when they're available, they're not really being bought by people anymore. They're being bought by these big institutions. So the way this crash is happening is like it's like how do I say this? It's happening right in front of our faces, but there's fog in between us. And what's on the other side of that fog is the moment something goes away, it goes right into the pocket of BlackRock. So it doesn't feel like a crash because it's like leaving the Bitcoins being sold by retail and it's going straight to BlackRock. The house is being sold, the commercial real estate, big property with 90 units sold, or like for whatever reason can't be, it's about to be house is foreclosed on, and then there's this cascade of issues that forces this type of handing over. BlackRock doesn't need to buy the dip because they have a direct injection from the central banks. So the central banks just are pushing, they're using BlackRock, State Street, etc. They're using them. So it doesn't feel like things are crashing. I believe that theory that I have is true. Correct me if I'm wrong. But when you have a crash, it's because everything is being sold off. There's no buyers. There's nobody buying what you're selling. And it's just too many people are selling. Too many people are getting out. The loans clearly can't be sustainable anymore with these interest rates. And just the amount of money people earn versus how much they're paying for daily life. Food is incredibly more expensive than it was 4 years ago. So you just get a bunch of people not paying all at the same time. Be very similar to like a bank run. Everyone takes the cash out, the bank has to collapse. Everyone stops paying their mortgage. Well, we've been through that. Trying to get to some of these super chats. One second, I gotta open this door back up. One second. Rob G, I appreciate your super chat. Whatever we decide on, it will not be unreasonable at all. I believe I'm caught up. The chat kind of went away. Guitar Gods TV says, "Can you please advise on specific coins that will move on with Ethereum when it starts to move?" Yeah, I don't really love accepting super chats for this sort of stuff. I try to keep this to like more conscious talk, and I avoid the crypto charts and the talking about the specific cryptos. I'll answer this, but that's kind of my way, just letting everyone know out there that please no super chats for this type of stuff. But to quickly answer your question, Ethereum lags behind quite a bit. And I don't necessarily care for what Ethereum does anymore in regards to my personal investment thesis and the way that I'm looking at the market. I don't really look at it. I never really looked at it that way. I know some people might, but let's just get to your question. Those are 4 projects that I personally hold, and everything is going to move once Bitcoin has exhausted into price discovery. So when we get a big push up for Bitcoin, which should be coming very soon to a theater near you, this will provide us with a new amount of liquidity to then flood over into the altcoins once Bitcoin has topped out. And the alt season, I suspect, to unfold very similarly to how it did in 2021, also the same way that it did in 2017 and 2018. And even on the first cycle, which some projects were a part of, but not many. Really, mostly what we look back on when we're talking about alt season is just 2 examples. So we have very limited data. But, you know, there's OGs out there like Dogecoin. Would be a couple good examples. Digibyte is one that was part of like the first real alt season. A lot of them are like dead now, like nobody really talks about. But regarding my analysis, I'm not really too concerned with the Ethereum thing. Like, it's just everything kind of all moves in synchronicity. We'll be looking at Bitcoin dominance to determine the way the pendulum swings. It's an interesting question. My thoughts on med beds. I kind of feel like we're using too much technology to heal ourselves. I'm not necessarily sold on that technology heals you. I think it's actually quite the opposite. I think that you need to stop interacting with technology if you want to heal. You have to do less, like almost nothing. But I do sense that there's a lot of new things that are coming out that have so far proven to be useful, like red light therapy and many others. I'm not saying that they don't work, but it's like just another new thing to get that makes you not want to fast. Because the healing has always been from within. That's the way healing goes. And if you really want to heal, it will be a period of time that you abstain from eating anything or drinking any water. It's called a water fast. That will allow you to actually heal properly. So we could buy all the tech and all like the cool new gadgets that get invented over time, but I just think it's more like frequency waves that you're pushing into your body that are not coming from the sun. Nothing can replace that. And they're not coming from you just avoiding consuming. Because once you avoid all consumption, and this even goes for your thoughts, you heal. Paolo, I appreciate your super chat. You said, I'm very grateful for your art, which will be the most sovereign way to store wealth in a technocratic world. Do you see a future in Bitcoin sovereignty or other digital assets post 2030? And how would you store them? I have to say, I do suspect there's going to be a lot of people that want the downfall of Bitcoin. And there's like a huge community dedicated to this, right? It's called the Bitcoin Satoshi Vision community. They always want me to chime in. I'm just entertained by it all. Because when I look at that chart, just got to laugh a little bit. But I'm not here to talk badly about other people's communities or what they think the truth is. I could really care less. I just feel that I do sense Bitcoin is here to stay, but I'm not going to be reliant on it. So if I can answer this question, what is the most sovereign way to store wealth in a technocratic world? It would be to continue to reinvest it into your business, and hopefully your business is useful to others and not just useful to you. However, you're able to facilitate that, whether you're an artist and you're able to entertain people, which we all need. We all love music. We all love dance. We all love art. Or the people out there that could be helpful just as a voice, which I suspect I hold that space for some. Then there's people that we need to build our world. There's people that we need to fix the things that are broken in our world and repair the world. So everybody serves a purpose here. And I suspect if I could answer this with the most value, it would be store your wealth in your people, not in Bitcoin. What I think they want us do to us is they want us to store all of everything we have and earn and do and keep it in a place where they can control it. But there's a value in loyalty, community, the people you surround yourselves with. So this is a currency that's far beyond money. And I've learned that throughout this experience here at Waters Above. I've learned that I'm very grateful, actually, that if I ever needed a bed to sleep on, I could probably call someone up nearby and I would have that opportunity. And I'm very grateful for that. So Bitcoin is a digital asset. We're moving into a very digital world. I do suspect that Bitcoin is here to stay. Is there an opportunity for Bitcoin to go to zero? Sure. Do I feel that's likely? No. Do I get entertained by the theories? Absolutely. Do I think Bitcoin Satoshi Vision is the real Bitcoin? Absolutely fucking not. Do I think Craig Wright is a jester? Yes, he's entertaining. I like entertainers. I just got to get that all of the way because some people are going to think that my take on Bitcoin is like too exoteric, right? I've always said this, everything popular is wrong. And then people say, well, what about Bitcoin? Go around your community, knock on a couple doors and ask them, do you own Bitcoin? And they're going to say, nope. No one is in this space. No one knows about this space. They've heard about it maybe once or twice. They saw a news article or they heard somebody talking about how their grandkid, trades. But most people on this earth don't invest in crypto. And funny enough, you want to know the amount of people that invest in things like altcoins is most retail. So the only thing that offsets this data is the fact that we have the Satoshi wallets, we have what MicroStrategy is doing, we have what's going on with the ETFs. That swallows up all the market cap for the entire space, right? It's unfair data. But if you were to knock on somebody's door, for instance, and say, hey, do you know about Bitcoin? They'd be like, no, I don't have any Bitcoin, but I have invested in Shiba Inu. Like they're more inclined to invest in that type of stuff than they are the Bitcoin play. And it was up until the Bitcoin ETF was passed, which by the way is 10 years deep into the existence of Bitcoin, that normal people started to feel a little bit more like, oh, I could trust this because BlackRock does, right? Even then, you're still early in this game. And then you get to the XRP community, and that's a whole other rabbit hole. And what I'm trying to reveal here is I think a lot of people think that the world you live on in the internet is the world that exists outside, which it doesn't. You're in this little microcosm kind of chamber of people that share your interests, but don't confuse that for the real world. So that kind of answers the next part of this question, which I'll move on from, is that the New World Order is going to propose an opportunity for you to invest in their shit coins, their central bank digital currencies, and their stable coins they make, or they'll force you into it, which is the other thing. And that will make Bitcoin look really sexy. That will make things like the original XRP holders be like, Mamma mia, I'm glad that I got this thing. Because they'll start making that stuff almost impossible to get, in my opinion. I'm not sure what the time horizon is on that, but that could very well be in the next cycle. I'm being serious right now, family. Like, I think once CBDCs and these stable coins start being released, which, by the way, Donald Trump wants to make his own. So wake the fuck up, patriots. Like, you guys are falling for it. Yeah, you didn't take the hook with the blue, rubber worm on it. You took the hook with the red rubber worm on it. You still got a fucking hook in your mouth. So wake up. That's what the world is about to be given the option of. Some people will not be given this option. Like in third world situations, there's places like China, which already have a social credit system, etc. You guys know. Just going a little deeper into this because this was a very generous super chat from Powell. So I hope I answered your question. I think with the new changes that are coming for the global financial ecosystem, having like HBAR might be impossible in 4 years. It might only be like stuff that's available today as a general investment. And then all we'll have is these digital stablecoin tokens that are programmed by governments, which, by the way, most of them are already anyways. What do you think USDC and USDT are? And like, you got people all the time remember this Tether FUD that has always been going on in the crypto space. Funny enough, it's usually the same people that believe Bitcoin's going to zero, none of which have happened, whilst we have seen the collapse of Terra Luna stablecoin, UST, right? But the people that are always like waiting for the day that never comes with the collapse of Terra Luna, it's just so funny to me. It's like, you do know that they're putting Tether and the identity of Tether and a couple of people that are tied to the companies that are tied to Tether. They're giving that stuff to you to have this illusion as if it's operating on its own and it's not connected to the New World Order. Like, It's time to wake up, man. Tether, Bitcoin, Ripple, Ethereum, all ERC, the entire, all of it, it is the New World Order. Even Charles Hoskinson from Cardano said in a live stream, he slipped up and said, it's like a Freudian slip. He said, we are the New World Order. He said that. He knows. He's not lying to you. He's not trying to hide shit. What do you think this Ripple SEC case was all about? It's to get you guys to believe in more power for attorneys, government. This is so funny to me. I should move on, but I think there's some value here. It's that, do you guys remember before C19? Did anyone care about governors? But then all of a sudden we have C19 and we start watching governors become rock stars. Like Gavin Newsom is famous now. What? Lori Lightfoot, or like everyone started to become famous on the governor level. And it was hilarious to me because I'm like, oh, I see what they're doing here. This is the New World Order's perfect play. They went from you focusing all your energy on the president to now you've shifted a level down. Oh, it's so good. It's like the Wizard of Oz. So what happened with the Ripple SEC case? You all went from believing that cryptocurrency was a sovereign, it was an opportunity for freedom. It was an opportunity for you to break away from the banking system where you don't care about what politicians think. You don't care about what the SEC says, right? That was the idea here with crypto. The Ripple SEC case was the perfect psyop because now you have lawyers who are famous because of this case. Like this guy, what's his name? I don't even want to talk about these people because it's like they deserve to put food on their table and they made a business out of it, and I'm proud of them for that, right? I don't care ultimately. But it's like, why are we making lawyers famous? What are we saying here? I thought the purpose of crypto was to get all these people out of our faces. But now judges are famous? Annalisa Torres? What is going on here? Is this like a high-level murder case? Like, I thought this was about the community that we had. And what did the community do when this case started? They immediately blamed government. But wait, are you guys not realizing that if you all just held your coins and didn't sell and just moved off the exchanges that were delisting the token and put it onto your hardware wallets and you didn't react like fucking children, that it wouldn't have had the crash, and then it would have went higher if you just put more money in it, if you believed in it, but you don't. You blame, you point your fingers and you say, oh, I like this attorney who made a YouTube video talking about all the things that I want to hear. I know this is fucking uncomfortable for a lot of people to hear right now, but like you gotta wait, you gotta push through it. Push through it. This Stockholm syndrome is an opportunity. But that's all this is. XRP army is Stockholm syndrome. And I hope some of them have woken up since aligning with my work, because this is how I've been talking since day one. And I'm a big XRP holder, but I'm not a part of the Ripple cult. I see it for what it is. It's an investment opportunity. Keep it there. Keep it at that. Clearly not the case in the charts, though. It's a trading opportunity. That's how it really is. And every time we see moves in it, even if it's momentary, it's no different than any other stock. So this whole thing called Ripple and XRP is not driven by community. It's driven by the speculation of news and updates that are happening in a legal case. Like what? Talk about slaves. Slaves need their masters. And who are their masters? The judges, attorneys, lawyers, politicians. So we believe government is corrupt. Now we want less corrupt government to come in to allow us to feel better about the thing that we could have just continued to feel better about because we believed in the technology and the use case. Oh, he said it. No, you never cared about the use case or the partnerships of the technology. That's not what your concern ever was. I mean, for a few, for 5% perhaps, for me, even though I've sold that thing many times, traded it many times. I just think it's clear. The Ripple SEC case was an agenda to rewire an ultimate agenda that the New World Order has for what blockchain technology will be, which is still relying on the system and will determine how we invest in it accordingly, which has nothing to do with the actual identity of what an investor is. You should have a sense of awareness of what it is that you're investing in, and it should not be dictated by the legal system or what politician. And I mean, if you're gonna treat it that way, then great. But I'm not really sure how that has anything to do with freedom and you being in control. It has everything to do with keeping the powers that be in control. Looks good doing it. Says most heads that pray or talk to God of this realm are giving away their prana. Is that right? I don't necessarily know if that's always the case. I think people do have a relationship with God. It's just the way that they show it is the way that they've been indoctrinated into showing it. Like you were taught to pray to the one direction, and you were taught to get on your knees and put your hands together and hold that mudra that you don't even know you're holding a mudra. Like you were taught the ritualistic manner of it. You were taught what biblical sentences to speak at dinner. You know, like you're taught this, which who do you learn it from? Man. And who did that man learn it from? Man. And who did that man learn it from? Man. This is not God. This is man. It is not God who created man. It is man who created God. Artak, I appreciate you. You said it in Armenian. We say Bari Luis. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but Bari Luis, meaning hello light instead of good morning. I like that. Even though they're the same. Celebrating the beauty of light beings as the new day dawns. Right. Yeah, because the son of the morning star, was Lucifer, the light bringer or the light bearer. And this has nothing to do with being evil. This became evil through corruption and invention of the Abrahamic religions, etc. But this concept of it just comes back to the sun. It was always the sun. It was always the sun. So the light of the morning, which again, we even call it morning as a new way of speaking, because when you have something tragic happen, when someone dies, you go into mourning, you are sad. This is also why they use the word spell awake, because when someone dies and has a funeral, you call it awake. You're going to the wake where you will be mourning. It's just word spells. But the light where the sun rise, shows its rays, that's the sun of the morning. Then we have the sunset, and as it passes across the sky, the Egyptians, the Babylonians, the Canaanites, they all had their own different way of relating to that arc and movement of the sun throughout the day. And then also the movement of the sun throughout the year as it goes through the seasons. This is the analemma pattern, the figure eight. So yeah, so many things to talk about from that angle too. Ida, I appreciate you. Much love over to Melbourne. This is good to know. Oz says Upholding Kraken in the UK are the best. It's cool. Coinbase in UK, very high fees. I do think Coinbase, though, has an opportunity for you to join a program which saves on a lot of fees. And if you're a business owner, you could effectively write those fees off as a expense. But I've had very bad experiences with Uphold, and that's why I've been like not necessarily sharing them as like my go-to. But remember, when we did have in the United States of America, when we started seeing all these delistings, they were like our only hope. But now that that's not the conversation, then I just felt like it's not necessary to deal with that. Rama, hope you and your people are safe. It's really tragic to hear about what's going on right now. Todd Miller asks, can you talk about high blood pressure? I'm affected by it and trying to heal from it all angles. Todd, what I would recommend, this is not advice, not health advice. I'm not your health advisor, but I'm not your medical practitioner or your licensed doctor. So take this as you wish. But I would personally get some really high quality watermelon if it's possible, which I know it's maybe not. It's maybe not in this time of year for many people, but if you could get some high quality watermelon or any type of melons, even grapes are good too. Then if you're going to do the grape route, which might be more available for you where you are, wash it in like an apple cider vinegar water. So what I think you should consider is 2 full days of only eating grapes. That's all you will eat. Black grapes if possible. Black or red. It says anthocyanins in it. Be a little bit more anti-inflammatory. So go ahead and pick all the grapes and then like let them soak in some apple cider vinegar or lemon water for like half an hour. You could even do this like before you're going to sleep for the night if you wanted to like, have it prepared for the next day. Since you're doing it in bulk, you're going to be eating nothing but grapes for 2 days. Just come up with a system that's comfortable for you, right? Also, during those 2 days, if you want to drink any water, make sure it is distilled water. Don't consume any salt. Don't consume anything else. Just have it be the grapes and have it be the distilled water. Then after those 2 days, attempt 48 hours of dry fasting. So that's 48 hours or 2 full days of not eating or drinking anything. Those 2 days prior where you had nothing but grapes and nothing but water will hydrate you so much that you're going to be able to push through this a little bit easier. And you're also going to be flushing out the system with all of that distilled water and with the pure fruit, because fruit digests in about 30 minutes. Unlike meat and potatoes could take 48 hours to digest. Just does not move through the system nicely. So anyways, that's another side story. I'm not trying to go there. But now you're at day 4, moving into day 5, and I want you to do the same thing you did on day 1 and 2. So you just you would break your fast with 48 hours of nothing but grapes, nothing but distilled water. And then when you're done with that, I want you to consider moving back into light food. Like don't go crazy with, like fucking mac and cheese and taco from Taco Bell. Like if you are eating those foods already, maybe consider getting those out of your life, like ultra high processed food. And I also teach everything about this inside of if you go to my website, watersabove.com, and you go to the Expansion Mastermind, the Expansion Mastermind talks all about health and wellness. There's 2 full sections dedicated to health and wellness, talking about detoxification and healing the body. And the title of those chapters is called Heal Thyself, because I am teaching you to do it for yourself and not having to rely on supplementation or have to rely on buying all these gadgets and all of this tech, all of this stuff. It's pretty much mostly just free. And once you implement fasting and this protocol, you'll probably be saving a lot of money because you're not buying a bunch of pills and potions. I'm telling you to get grapes or watermelon or nothing but apples, right? So it ends up being a savings in many ways. So I would say give that a shot. And then it would really much have to do with the foods you consume on a daily basis, because it's not what you do once in a while, it's what you do every single day. Keep that in mind. And definitely, if you're taking all of these supplements, like, don't for right now. Let your body do what it needs to do without adding in excess. See, the human body does not work in the additive principle. People have been scammed into thinking, oh, I have a problem, let me just add more. That's not how it goes. You need less. We already have so much quote unquote more in our air quality with all these stratospheric aerosol injections, all this barium, strontium, aluminum, etc. They're spraying out of these fucking planes. All the food, even organic food, is getting hit with these sprays. You can't do anything about that. So all of the food system is corrupted. It's nothing you can do unless you have your own personal greenhouses and like you build your own system, which again, if you're passionate about doing, you probably should. Or the alternative is doing 48 hours of avoiding completely any consumption. Go into a dark room, chill, turn off the fucking internet, do nothing. Less is more. Kathy said Texas isn't as I'm for some reason I'm getting all the Kathy. This happened. I don't even know if she's still here, but says an interesting thing. Texas isn't as sovereign as people think. Yeah, one of the things about Texas is the whole thing that's been going on lately with LA. It's going to displace a lot of people, and they're going to go to Texas or they're going to go to Arizona. So you have to think about that. If you live in Texas or Arizona, get ready for a way higher population boom than you've already been experiencing since C19. Breathe in air. I really appreciate your super chat. I don't see any other comment included, but if I see it, I will definitely make sure to answer. Appreciate you. Much love. Mustafa Ali, you said, oh my God, I talked about this in the Archaics podcast that I just did a couple of days ago. And you said Deagle predicted mass depopulation in 2025 over a decade ago, targeting nations like UK, USA. Do you believe there's a genuine threat, or you see that as a danger for future years rather than 2025? I looked at those numbers maybe like 5 years ago, like right before, no, maybe 6, like the year before C19 happened. Isn't that crazy to say, by the way, that fucking C19 scam happened 5 years ago? Shit. Anyways, yeah, I learned about this Deagle thing probably in 2018, 2019, and staggering population loss in 2025. And it's like, what are they saying? How is this possible? Because the amount drops pretty substantially, right? Like it's like 150 million people or up to 200 million people in the USA. I don't know what the current number is for the USA population. Is it like 350 million? The Deagle statistics at that time, I think, were saying like 98 million people left. Like, what? What does that mean? What is this data? You know, so I've never pushed this. I've never, because I'm not like a fear mongerer. That's not my energy. But I've talked about it here and there on live streams for sure. And I even brought it up. I think I brought it up during the Archaics live stream we did a couple days ago. So I don't know. You know, that's a pretty big drop. The UK, it's a crazy drop. Europe, it's a huge drop. It's like, where are all these people going to go and why? Now, I know a lot of people think with A lot of people think these jabs have something to do with it, you know? Let's just get to the cut to the chase, right? A lot of people do think these jabs have something to do with it. I can't blame them because, I mean, I didn't take it, and I am very glad my mother didn't take it, and a lot of the close people in my life did not. And I think initially there was this feeling from the truther community who was aware about terrain theory and germ theory and all that stuff and knew about some of the complications that would come from taking the jab. But we were all very hardcore, weren't we? Weren't we, like, a lot of people anticipating that, like, once these jabs were taken en masse, that we would just have, like, within a month, everyone would turn into a zombie? Like, we, a lot of the time, expect everything to be so dramatic and so, like, end times, but then when we get the real event, it's always slightly different than what we anticipated, and it's when nobody expects it. Like this LA thing. This LA thing that happened right now is like, bro, where are all these people gonna go? How are they gonna find money to be able to figure this out? I made a post about this a couple days ago, which a lot of people didn't like, even though I was trying to be as human as possible about the whole thing, because of course people reach out to me and they want to know how I feel. And I was just saying that, like, you got to understand, guys, that if there's any place on this earth that has regular people that are the largest percentage of crypto holders, it's Los Angeles. These are people that have excess, and people say, "Oh, well, rich people don't invest in crypto." Yes, they do. You probably never spoken to them, but I get on phone calls with them, so I know for a fact. Again, my biggest population city that watches my channel over the past 4 years is Los Angeles. Do you think I'm just pulling this shit out of my ass to make you feel there's a reason for the correction? So it was strange that people were taking that and like being like, "No, sir, actually, it's the technical charts that are the reason that it's." Are you fucking killing? Are you kidding me? People lost everything. They had no insurance to back it up. If they had a little bit of crypto or any investment, if they were invested in Tesla, they fucking sold it. You would too. And I even said that in the post. I said, this is a very good reason to sell because you need to. And the dip was not a crash. It was literally what you would expect from a day where we're having the craziest fucking fire we've ever seen in the history of the country, with a population of people that have the money to be investors. We're not talking about Mobile, Alabama. We're not talking about, you understand where I'm coming from? We're not talking about Little Rock, Arkansas. These people may have money to invest, but not at mass. So yes, the people that live in Malibu, the people that live in these areas where they could afford homes like that, they are always looking for the next thing to put their excess capital into. And crypto has been sexy for the past 7 years now. And I can look at my data and prove it. I'm a New Yorker, and New York isn't even my number one stat. It's LA. So, yeah. I'm not entirely sure what the fuck is going to happen this year regarding the population decline, but I think what just occurred is a sign that, what are all these people going to do? What are all these people going to do? What's the backup plan? Because the government ain't going to do shit. FEMA ain't going to do shit. They never do shit. So expect martial law, expect looting, expect people to become savages. And if this was to happen in a place like New York City, then it would be absolutely 100% proven that their plans are coming sooner than we thought in regards to 15-minute cities, smart cities, etc. Pegasus said, no, university is not a waste of time when it becomes to specific skill sets such as medicine, law, or engineering. Yes, but you could learn all three of those things without the need for school. The reason you go to school is because that will be a part of your certificate system, which again puts you in the have some of the world's best doctors, yet they're not accredited. They're not given the opportunity to practice medicine because they had a change of opinion from what the New World Order wanted them to do, but what the World Health Organization wanted them to do. So all of that shit that they learned in university, not only did they learn that it's all fucking fake, that it's all a scam, and it's all just part of a money grab for the pharmaceutical companies, like, I get what your point is, but all of the things you listed could be learned on your own or from other specialists, or the people that have already specialized in those things can illumine to the fact that they've been doing it under the slave system. If you are a doctor and you were learning about the jab, didn't you have a moral dilemma during C19? Or perhaps you just don't care because your university told you that this is what is right to do. Which, by the way, your university taught you germ theory, so it fucking scammed you. You paid 100,000, 200, 300, 400, however many thousands of dollars to practice a lie. Now, I have no problem with doctors. I believe we've been through enough years now where the real doctors that are in our community right now are probably like, amen. I wish I didn't put my money in that bullshit. All to have it away from me where I'm not practice what I believe actually heals people. They make it illegal for you to do what actually heals people. So miss me with this. I bet you if we had a real doctor who can now be in a situation where they're financially covered to be able to do master classes and work with people who are passionate about medicine and really want to heal people, we won't need them to pay $50,000, $200,000, $300,000 and take 12 fucking years to be able to do something that artificial intelligence is about to take away from those doctors anyways. Sorry to say it. So why do we need to go through that system when we could build a better system? And I get it. People are going to say, well, you can't just do that, right? Well, you can. We just don't have the courage or the bravery to put those things in place and put them in motion. Cody says doctors are the worst. I don't believe that. I believe there's many great doctors who have a heart, who really want to help. And I've met many of them throughout my time here at Waters Above, being able to connect with doctors who woke up and realized that they didn't want to perpetuate the scam anymore. So doctors aren't the worst. Nobody is the worst. It's the system that's the worst. It's the university that's the worst. It's the diploma that's the worst. They put you in a cap and gown and make you look like a fucking Freemason. That's the worst. It's the system, not the people. We, the people, are scammed into believing the system has power, and we don't want to do anything to change it. So that's the whole point of what I'm trying to do. Together, people who are like-minded at this level of consciousness, who are looking to build new systems. We are surrounded by so many beautiful, talented people who specialize in things. And I don't want everyone to become an online digital, like voice in the sky like me. I don't consider myself to really even have a skill here. I don't. I'm just the cup of coffee in the morning. When you wake up, you go get the cup of coffee. That's all I am. And then when you're done with that cup of coffee, you go fucking rule the world. That's all the only place I hold in this. I'm not the one who has the truth. The way that I'm living my life isn't the perfect way for you to live your life. That's not what this is. It's never how it was. I love the fact that I'm surrounded by so many people who don't do what I do. I don't even want to really engage too much with people who like crypto. They're boring to me. Like, I want to talk about music. I want to talk about like art. But I don't believe that doctors are the worst or lawyers are the worst or anything. It's just the system that they're operating under is the worst. And if we can do something to convince those people that, hey, you can do what you're doing, how you do it in the honorable way and still be monetized for it, and we can make sure that you're secure and you don't have to worry about somebody taking away this or taking away that from you, then fuck. That's my purpose on this earth, is to bring that confidence to people and to organize that. And I feel very, very confident that I'll be able to accomplish this. Really, really excited for what this project has to offer. So yeah, we're opening up for enrollment. Looking forward to seeing who joins our first cohort. Again, over at the university, Waters Above University, we have Patreon supporters get $100 off, which is the cost of 1 year of the Patreon membership that is being applied to your enrollment. Gonna do university the right way. Bigo. Be- All right, I really have to wrap this one up pretty soon. I've been going for two, almost 3 hours. Shit, I'm gonna wrap this up in like 10 minutes. B Goat says, "I love when Waters gets fired up. He hasn't told anyone to go with themselves yet." Oh, you guys, crazy. Jamie Hernandez says, "I've seen articles of UBI programs already testing in LA. Can you send those to us, Jamie? Perhaps you can share a article for some of us to check out. I would, or if you're in our mastermind community, if you want to share it within the Discord, go for it. I would love to see. But Jamie, did you listen to the podcast that I did with Archaics where I talked about the World Debt Reset Program? Like, mamma mia. I already saw documentation. I don't know where to find it because it was a Canadian that showed me it back in like 2020. And it was like some weird document where it had a time expiration on it where like after you opened up the file, I wasn't able to screenshot it. It was fucking crazy. I know I sound like I'm like revealing something that could get me killed. So if you guys don't hear from me in a couple, no, I'm just fucking with you. You can't kill a man who's 450 years old and lives outside of the firmament. So, anyways, I saw this document and it was for Canada, and it said it was called the World Debt Reset Program, and it was it was like a tabletop exercise, no different than Agenda 2030 was with what was this thing called? Event 201. Like Event 201 is within Agenda 2030. And then you have all this information with like the Council of Foreign Relations and the Club of Rome and this, that, and the third. And so saw this document, World Debt Reset Program, talking about beta test, like basically testing it in Canada. That would be the first place they do it. And the protocol, one of the phases, and I shit you not, this was before C9. This was like the early days of C19. So we're talking April, May, June-ish. Had a client I was working with. They sent me this document, and it said that one of the phases of this in Canada will be you will have chaos with logistics, and there will be effectively what went down with the trucker protests. And one of the parts of this phase that convinced me that it was that event that ended up going down, which I don't know when that was, 2022, 2023, quite recently, right? So we're talking 2 years out from when this, 2 to 3 years out from when this event happened. And one of the things it said is that we would be shutting off bank accounts. We will be testing what that would be like with regards to the way people react or respond to it. So then remember, people started using cryptocurrency as like a way around it to donate in these situations. But they were basically incriminating you for the way you used your money. And that was part of the protocol for the World Debt Reset Program. I really shouldn't be talking about this. But fuck it, right? Like the truth is the truth. I can't gatekeep this shit. This is one of the phases. And it happened. And people reacted identical to the way that this document was effectively saying that it would go down. Now here we are. And you hear Donald Trump talking about basically taking over Canada, like making it a state. And everyone's like, yeah, I fucking love it. The Patriots are like waving their flags in the air, being like, yeah, we get Greenland now. Okay. Do you not study anything? Like you're in this field of awareness. Have you ever looked into the Club of Rome's map? Because guess what? The Club of Rome's map shows that Canada and Greenland will be part of the United States of America. And this is information that goes back over a decade. Donald Trump is being used to implement the agenda of creating large regions that will be part of the globalist agenda. And I don't believe Mexico will actually be a part of it. This is why he's fucking with you all and being like, it's going to be the Gulf of America. Like just, he's having fun with everyone right now, the same way like a cheetah would have fun with a rat before it eats it as a snack. He's doing the dirty work with hypnotism through the belief that everyone has that he's a good guy who's coming to save you all. but he's only doing the orders that he's been told to follow from these people that run the world. Look up the Club of Rome. I'll share this picture later or something on X. So if you guys are into that website, just go over to @watersabove. Maybe you could see it on the screen. And I'll share this later. Make sure you write above ABVE, so without the O. And also, man, we're almost at 40,000 followers over there. It's pretty incredible. I'm really grateful to have so many people vibing with what we got going on here. So World Debt Reset program, part of the big plan, and that is for pushing into a UBI program, which is the question I got from Jamie. Now, I don't necessarily know if it's going to 100% happen in Canada. They're going to use regions, testing ideas, and then going forth with it, kind of like a chess move, you know? A grandmaster chess player doesn't... I shouldn't talk because I'm not a grandmaster chess player. I just realized, like, what am I saying? Let me just assume that 99.99% of humanity is playing checkers, and the people that are ruling the world are grandmaster chess players. It's not even that they know the rules of chess and they could play like, you know, like casually. It's like they made the fucking game. They invented chess, and they invented checkers so you can fuck off. And they're playing at a level where they are like a supercomputer with the mind of Magnus Carlsen on steroids. They have everything figured out, and in so many different ways. And when you're moving pieces on the right side of the board, let's just call that like Asia or Australia. And then you're moving pieces on the left side of the board, let's just consider that like the Americas. And that's how they're looking at the world. And on our side of the board, there's no back row. There's no kings, queens, rooks, none of that. We really need to outnumber them in this situation, which we do. And that's what's so hilarious about how this is all happening, is because we outnumber the quote unquote apex predator global elite. Fucking, what's the ratio? What's the ratio? It's incomprehensible. Yet we still decide to do the world as we do. Mustafa says, how to balance traveling and working on the go compared to locking in and sticking to a particular base for certain periods of time. I personally believe you have to ask yourself, where are you at in your journey? So if you're somebody who really values travel, but also you're passionate about maybe being somebody who teaches about how to travel, then it would be sensible for you to travel often. But if you're somebody who doesn't necessarily need to always be on the go, but you want to benefit from certain perks that come with the travel, for perhaps these could be write-offs to your business. Also, you get to explore and experience new places. And also maybe you can get rid of the extreme cost of having a mortgage and all that other stuff. Like if you want to live light and that's kind of like your vibe, or if you're somebody who's never bought a house and you're just living in an apartment, which is the case for many, and you just want a lifestyle that's more free in that way, realize you're going to pay a lot more to have that lifestyle unless you go to places that are clearly much cheaper, which there's plenty of options, like, you know, Southeast Asia and many of South America, and of course. But beyond that, I personally think that if you're in your building phase, you should remove distractions. So if you're somebody who does not have an online business, but you own a home that you have a mortgage on and like you're comfortably kind of in that situation, then I would rather you maybe not make any big moves if your goal is to build your business. If you're somebody who has an apartment and like you know, your lease isn't due for the next whatever year, just hang in there, you know, like hang in there and focus on the building phase. And make sure that the people in your life are aware that you're in this building phase. Never tell anybody about your results. Always tell people where you're at with the phase you're working through. Your results are irrelevant. Your results will show for themselves at a later date. So focus on that. Focus on building a foundation. And sometimes traveling, it could be a distraction. Again, unless your business model, yeah, but that's a different story. All right. We've made it to 3 hours. I really need to wrap this one up. It's been beautiful to hang out with you all for so long and have 830 people make it with us to the end. So I really appreciate every single one of you. Again, have enrollment open over at the university. Go check it out, watersabove.university, or you can go to watersabove.com/join-university. Could read up everything that's included in this, got the syllabus, description of what is going to be covered, and then this frequently asked question section. Really, and this section will let you know that's available for anyone who's a Patreon. So join for 9 and unlock 100. This code will open up and you take this journey for a full year. So really excited. Again, yes, it's just a one-time payment for a full year. No installment plans, none of that. Just one set and go. I appreciate and I'm grateful for every one of you. I do think that I got a question coming in at the end. On that. Jay says, shout out to you and Jason for that live. Always fascinating with the Purge franchise. Catch you in the university. Yeah, Jay, I'm really appreciative of you. Really amazing to have you come join us. And yeah, the Purge information that he was sharing was crazy, really wild. And it almost makes me want to rewatch the election year one. But I feel like I need to rewatch the Leave the World Behind again, because that will definitely be part of my upcoming decode, the Year of the Snake Decoded. So again, anyone who joins over on Patreon to unlock that discount at our new university, then you could be expecting over on Patreon very soon, just about a couple weeks away, you will get a full-length decode presentation. I usually make them about an hour long from start to finish, as this will probably be one of the most life-changing years for all of us. So I'm really excited to get into some of that information. I did do a little bit of a sneak peek inside of my crypto decoding blueprint, but I will be adding all new material as well. So really excited to start working on that project. It's like I got so many things going on right now, but I have to go, guys. It's been a beautiful time hanging out with you all. I'm wishing you all a beautiful rest of your weekend in the Matrix. I'll be catching some of you tomorrow in the new Red Pill podcast. And in a couple of days, we'll be launching Waters Above University on January 14th. So if anyone enrolled in that, and again, if you're interested, make sure you enroll soon to secure your spot because there are limited spots available. I'll be catching you over there in a couple of days on January 14th when we officially go live. We'll be starting with the numerology blueprint, getting you this esoteric numerology figured out for yourself, and then onboarding into our university community, our virtual campuses, the co-creation space, and taking it from there. Appreciate and grateful for every single one of you. Much love.